On today's episode, why don't you make like a tree and grab your tickets because we're getting to the theater. Hello everyone, I'm Adam.
I'm Erica.
I'm Etta.
I'm Jeremy.
Today's episode of Getting to the Theater, we are talking about Back to the Future. We're also going to start doing things a little differently going forward. This is a new show. We're still learning what we want to do with it. So at the end of this episode and going forward, I will be asking my co-hosts here if they thought this movie would be worth seeing in the theater. I think I started that last episode, so we're going to continue that going forward.
We like new things. We like growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And luckily our growth doesn't require a time machine.
Oh, thank God. Not in this shitty car.
Wow.
What's wrong with the car?
It kept breaking down.
This car kept breaking down. It's a DeLorean, by the way. If anyone doesn't know what a DeLorean looks like, please look it up.
I need to. I was going to. Hold on.
You saw what a DeLorean looked like.
Yeah, but like...
But this is Back to the Future from 1985, directed by Robert Zemeckis.
He's done some movies that we like.
Oh yeah. Bob's done a lot of movies.
Oh, we're that formal with them?
Oh yeah. Old Bobby Zemeckis.
Did he do Home Alone?
No, I believe that was Christopher Columbus.
Oh.
What?
Did Christopher Columbus do Spy Kids?
Sorry, I think he goes by Chris Columbus.
Oh.
He did America.
No, Spy Kids is Robert Rodriguez, I believe.
Oh. Did Christopher Columbus do Harry Potter?
He did the first two Harry Potter movies.
Okay.
And he produced the third one, and after that, he was out.
He was like, this is getting a little too dark for me.
Yeah, he does a lot of family stuff. Zemeckis did...
I don't know. They looking kind of swank now, these DeLoreans.
Oh, I thought they stopped making
Please
them.
don't tell me they brought the DeLorean back.
His looks...
Etta, no.
What? Yeah, I think it's a hybrid or...
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It looks nice.
Does it? Let me see.
Does it?
It does.
It's all right. It's all right. It's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad.
No?
No.
What in the world?
Damn.
It looks like something straight out of Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
So when they do the updated movie with Robert Downey Jr. and
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, they're gonna drive that.
Fun fact, this movie cannot be remade as long as Robert Zemeckis is alive.
Oh.
That was part of his contract.
Okay.
As long as I am breathing, you cannot remake this film.
And that's a good move.
That's a very good move. And they don't need to remake this movie. It is fine the way it is.
Fine being the key word.
Okay. But Zemeckis directed Romancing the Stone. Of course, this, Back to the Future, Who Framed Roger Rabbit,
Oh.
Back to the Future Part 2 and 3,
Okay.
Death Becomes Her.
Oh.
You mentioned you wanted to see that the other day.
Yeah, that's a stay tuned.
Yeah. Forrest Gump.
Wow. He had a good couple years.
Yeah. Contact. The Polar Express.
Really?
Castaway.
He really liked Tom Hanks.
Just wait. Beowulf. A Christmas Carol, the one with Jim Carrey.
Terrifying.
Flight.
Is that the one with Tom Hanks?
No, Flight is the one with Denzel being a drunk pilot.
Oh.
Allied. Welcome to Morrowind. The remake of The Witches.
The scary one?
Yeah, the one with Anne Hathaway in the remake. The original, I think it was...
Angelica Houston.
Angelica Houston.
That's the scary one.
Yes. Okay. And then he directed a Pinocchio film recently. I think the one with Tom Hanks.
Oh.
So he's done several films with Tom Hanks. But my favorite thing is this movie was shot by Mr. Dean Cundey. Dean Cundey also was a cinematographer for Halloween.
Oh.
The Fog.
The Fog.
A horror film. Escape from New York. Halloween 2. The Thing. Halloween 3. Psycho 2.
None of these are really good movies.
Hold on.
Okay.
Back to the Future. Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh.
Hey.
Who
like that
Framed
movie.
Roger Rabbit. Roadhouse.
Is that the one with Patrick Swayze?
It is.
Okay.
Good movie.
Roadhouse.
Stay tuned. Back to the Futures 2 and 3. Nothing But Trouble. Hook.
Great movie.
Death Becomes Her.
Wow. They really teamed up multiple times.
Jurassic Park.
Oh.
The Flintstones. Casper. Apollo 13. Flubber.
Flubber.
He really had a good decade in the 90s.
Oh, What Women Want. Everyone's favorite movie.
I didn't mind it.
I was gonna say that's pretty good.
Never seen it.
You're not missing a thing.
It's
You want to watch Mel
it's
Gibson be
weird.
a misogynistic advertising agent?
It was the 90s.
No. That movie came out in 2000.
It was the 90s.
He was a cinematographer or the director of photography for The Holiday.
Oh, good movie.
Uh,
That's a Christmas classic.
Jack and Jill.
You know, that really made me realize Jack Black was hot.
The Holiday.
The Holiday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Doesn't he get
He gets Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet? Yes, thank you. So you know, some good people worked on Back to the Future.
Yeah.
This movie stars well, hold on. Before I say who stars in it, Erica, you picked this movie.
I did.
Give us a brief summary of what this movie is. Like, condense it down to just a little paragraph.
The 17-year-old breaks into his old man friend's garage, and he gets a phone call telling him to meet him in a parking lot at 1:15 in the morning, where he has to help his friend out with the experiment where he has to go into the future, but it turns out they get sent to the past after accidentally when he's murdered by some
You're
Libyans.
just giving us the whole movie.
My bad.
So a brief summary of this movie
A kid accidentally goes into the past and he has to figure out how to get back.
There we go.
To the future.
There we go.
She's
To the
giving it
future.
all, man.
Yeah.
Damn. Erica was just about to give us the whole movie. We didn't have to talk at all, guys.
Right?
So yeah. And the 17-year-old Marty McFly, played by a little baby-faced Michael J. Fox, and his doctor friend, Dr. Emmett Brown, is played by Christopher Lloyd, who I always thought was just an old man my entire life.
I've never seen a young.
But in this movie, he's only like 47.
He really suffered from old man face forever.
Wasn't he in Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
He was,
Yes.
which was just a couple years later. He was Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what and that's honestly a lot of the things I picture him from, because that movie I grew up with. I didn't grow up with this.
I think he was also in My Favorite Martian.
I don't know. He was in Suburban Commando with Hulk Hogan, who played an alien.
He was in Clue in the year before this.
Oh, Clue. Yes. Another thing I grew up watching. He also played a Klingon in a Star Trek movie, which is wild to think about. But the movie starts with, we get an opening credit sequence where we're going through Doc's garage slash home, and we're just seeing all these clocks, and they all have the same time. You got time clicking, or just ticking, and there's one clock that shows a little man hanging from one of the arms, which is foreshadowing for the end of the film.
I just want to say, Doc Brown seems like the type of person that would like accidentally leave his stove on,
Absolutely,
or
100%.
like his curling iron or something. Because the way these alarms are set to ring, and he's been gone for a week.
Also, his coffee pot.
Yeah,
It just starts shooting hot water onto the little heating station. There's no cup.
his toast has been going for
Oh.
a week, burning and reburning.
Yeah, it kept pulling the toast back down, ejecting it back. That toast was a rock. There's a news report on the TV that mentions that there was some stolen plutonium, and a Libyan organization took credit for it, but the facility was like, oh no, it was just a clerical error. It's not actually missing. We just had bad documentation trying to cover their tracks. Because as we learned in this very scene, that plutonium is hidden under Doc's bed. Because when Marty walks in, he sets his skateboard down next to the bowl of week-old dog food, which looks so fucking gross.
Horrible.
It's the skateboard just slides right under his bed and hits the case that's marked plutonium. And then you got a whole bunch of old, cold Burger King wrappers next to Doc's side of the bed. So it's a miracle this man's still alive, because he's like in his 70s. We went by how old Christopher Lloyd was in real life and applied that to his self in 1955. So present day Doc is roughly 70 something, but he's living off this cold Burger King because his house is just a garage, but it's in the parking lot right next door to a Burger King.
Yep.
Because the brown mansion burned down, and there's a framed picture of it on the wall. It's like we're panning through in that opening title sequence. Mm-hmm. It's like brown mansion burned down.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Did it say why?
No, but I think we get a hint of that later on in the movie when he's showing Marty the model. The thing that made me laugh harder than it should have. Mm-hmm. So when Marty comes in, he turns on this big amplifier, and when you finally see it, it's taller than him.
It's huge.
Mm-hmm. This thing is gigantic, and he's turning all these dials and these switches to on. You can hear it powering up, and then it shows him plug in the guitar, and when it zooms out, he's got the tiniest little ukulele-sized guitar.
It's like an electric ukulele.
It's so small. And when he strums it, it explodes and launches him across the room.
And it makes you like wonder, like, what was Doc doing with this amp? Like, does Doc play guitar?
I'm gonna guess he just built that for Marty.
Just cause?
Just cause they're friends. Yeah.
I feel like he could have been doing anything with that freaking amp because he tries to invent things. So
that's true.
There's no telling what he was trying to do. Absolutely. After the amp explodes, Doc calls and Marty's like, "Doc, where you been? I haven't seen you in a week. Is Einstein with you? Is he okay? I gotta really worry about this dog and make sure you're feeding him." Doc basically asked Marty to meet him at the Twin Pines Mall around 1:15 in the morning.
Yes.
And is that when all the clocks go off at 8 a.m.? And Doc says something about his experiment worked. And I don't know what experiment he was working on with these clocks. They don't really touch on it. But he's like, oh, they're all 15 minutes or 25 minutes slow. And Marty has the first time he says the phrase, "Are you telling me that all these clocks are behind or they're ahead?"
Yeah.
And
he's like, "Are you telling me it's 8:25?"
Yeah, they're behind. The clocks are behind. It's 8:25, and Marty's late for school. So he runs out. And he begins his first of many times we see him skitching in this movie.
Wait, let's circle back, because Marty couldn't have been in there for 25 minutes. There's no way. So, like, he had to show up already being late.
I don't know. He plugged in all that stuff. It might have taken him 25 minutes to plug all that stuff in and turn all those dials and shit.
What time was it when he got there? Like, what did the clock say when he arrived?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Like 7:30, I think.
I mean, it might just be a movie thing.
Maybe.
Either way, he's late for school. Mm-hmm. And we see him going down Main Street, and, like, the town kind of sucks. Like,
there's graffiti everywhere.
There's graffiti. There's a bunch of closed down shops. It's like a bunch of sex stores.
There's that porn theater randomly.
Oh, the porn theater.
Yes,
It's Orgy American Style is showing at the porn theater. There's re-elect Mayor Goldie signs. He drives past Lou's aerobic studio, which we see once he goes back to the past. It was Lou's diner.
Oh, did I make that connection?
Yeah, same place. There's lots of stuff like that in this movie that I love. Like, you see a lot of stuff twice in this film, from the present day perspective to the past.
Like the old school Texaco to the new school Texaco.
That and the first time we meet Biff and his dad, that scene basically repeats itself once he goes back to 1955. Almost the exact same scene. So his dad's been getting bullied by this guy for 30 fucking years.
Which is embarrassing.
Very embarrassing.
Secondhand embarrassment was real.
Yes, and Lou was just letting it happen. Lou didn't give a fuck. Oh, and the song that's playing while he's skitching to school is "The Power of Love" by Huey Lewis and the News. When he auditions to play the school band, the judge that stands up and is like, "Son, you're just too darn loud," that's Huey Lewis.
Wow.
Nice.
He's being too loud.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they would have turned the music down, they probably would have did a great job.
Maybe.
So he gets to the school and his girlfriend runs out. She's like, "Hey."
His girlfriend Jennifer.
Yeah, she runs out. She's like, "Hey."
Played by Claudia Wells in this film. Elizabeth Shue plays her in the next two movies.
She's like, "Don't go this way because
Strickland's looking for you."
Yes. And you'll be on your fourth tardy if." She's like, "Don't go this way because Strickland's looking for you." She's like, "Don't go this way because Strickland's looking for you."
Strickland.
And you'll be on your fourth tardy if. you get caught.
I assume he's the principal, Strickland?
Maybe he's the principal now. I think he was a teacher back then.
Possibly. He's played by a man named James Tolkien.
Jokin, Roken, Tolkien?
No, not Jokin, Roken, Tolkien. No relation as far as I'm aware. He might be in all three films. I know for sure he's in the third one.
And the first one.
Thank you. But he's one of those tough love kind of guys.
Tough love?
Very tough. Because
incredibly tough.
I'm trying to find the love.
Well, it's like the same kind of shit he tells
What is love?
his dad when his dad is in school. He doesn't want him to be a slacker. He actually wants him to accomplish something. And Marty keeps being late and hanging out with Doc Brown. He doesn't like him hanging out with Doc Brown. Mm-hmm. And it's causing him to be late for school. He wants him to be in school. I saw him as one of those just like strict guys, but he wants Marty to do something.
I can see that. Some dudes don't know how to.
Show they care?
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
Some dudes don't actually know how to do that. And
Right.
to be fair, he probably shouldn't have been hanging out with Doc. That almost got him killed.
Many times.
You're a 17-year-old boy hanging out with this old man. Why don't you have friends your own age, man?
He definitely probably should.
I mean, Doc has cool toys, but
None of that would have happened if he wasn't hanging out with Doc.
right. So he gets his fourth tardy in a row, which leads to nothing really in the movie. And Jennifer gets one. Then they have their little audition. It's they call themselves the Pinheads.
Yep.
And they start playing, and immediately the one guy is just like, "Nope, shut it down. You're too loud, kid." And Marty's very dejected.
Yeah.
So when he and Jennifer are presumably after school, they're walking through Main Street, and she tells him like, "No, your music is good. You need to turn in this audition tape to the studio." He says something like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna figure it out." And as he's saying this, these two girls walk by, and Marty's just fucking checking him out right in front of his girlfriend.
After his girlfriend's giving him inspiration, telling him how good she thinks he is, and he's like, "Let me check out these other ladies."
I missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She like
Did
does
you
a thing.
really?
Yeah.
I missed. I must have been on my phone.
She does a thing where she like grabs his chin and like redirects his dumb attention back to her.
You know how it has to be sometimes.
There's also a lady there talking about saving the clock tower.
But he comes by it honestly, if we're being honest, considering who his parents are.
Checking
/
out other
were.
women.
What you mean?
I mean, both his parents were like, little perverts. So,
Oh,
Yikes.
yes. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Both his parents were perverts.
We're getting there.
yeah.
But there's a clock tower lady who hardcore cockblocks Marty in this moment because he and Jennifer are about to kiss. And the lady gets right in their face with this little donation tin. Mm-hmm. And it's like the clock tower broke 30 years ago and they never fixed it. Yeah, save the tower. And Marty gives her a quarter to go away. He's like, "Hey, can you get the fuck out of here? I'm trying to make out with my girlfriend on the park bench."
Because she shoved it right in between them.
Oh, absolutely. The other week I mentioned about saving 6 inches for Jesus. Save 6 inches for the clock tower.
Oh my gosh.
And she also gives them a flyer that gives you the date and time when the clock tower broke. It was struck by lightning. Mm-hmm. November
5th, 1955.
No, it was a week after that.
Oh, right. So it would be November 12th.
It was like November 12th at 10:04 p.m. 1955. Very important information. And the only reason Marty holds on to this thing is because right when they're about to kiss again, her father rolls up and he's like, "Jennifer, get in the car."
Kissing on that McFly boy again.
Yeah. And she writes down her grandparents' phone number because she's going to stay with them for the weekend. And she writes, "I love you" on it. And that's the only reason Marty holds on to this flyer. And this literally saves his fucking life later in the movie. Is it after that he goes home?
Yes.
He goes home to Lyon Estates, which again, everything's fucking covered in graffiti. The two big welcome signs when you walk into the street, caked in graffiti. And he rolls up to the house and there's a tow truck parking his father's car, and the car is just wrecked.
Destroyed.
Just fucked up. And when he walks inside, Biff is basically saying to George McFly, Marty's father, George played by Crispin Glover, and Biff is played by Tom Wilson.
Both of them are an old man face in this.
Hardcore old people makeup.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look good in high definition. I'm sure this looked great back in '85 when you saw it in the theater.
Hopefully.
Because you couldn't see it very clearly.
Yeah.
But basically, Biff is saying, McFly, you didn't tell me your car had a blind spot. It's your fault I crashed this car. And George is a pushover. He is so soft. And he goes, well, Biff, I can assume that your insurance is going to pay for the damages. And Biff's like, my insurance? No, your insurance. You didn't tell me about the blind spot. And also my cleaning bill because I spilled beer on myself when that guy hit me. And George is just like, oh, yeah, well, okay, yeah. And Biff says, also, did you get those papers finished? He goes, yeah, I'm going to turn them in tomorrow. Don't turn them in. Bring them to me. How's it going to look if I turn in my reports in your handwriting? And he does this thing where he grabs George's tie and he starts knocking him on the head. Like, think, McFly, think. He goes to the fridge and he pulls out a beer and he's like, look, I had your car towed all the way to your house and all you got for me is cheap beer?
Which is wild. Like, I don't understand how you can be this much of a pushover.
George is so sad.
That somebody wrecked your car.
Yeah.
And then had the nerve to blame you that they wrecked your car.
While they were drinking and driving.
And then they had the nerve to do this in your house.
You just let them do it.
Just let them.
In front of your kids. And wife.
Oh my God. Marty has no respect for his father. He's just like, this guy's so fucking pathetic. When are you going to leave him, Mom? Maybe you'll get rid of that drinking problem.
If we're being honest, I feel like Lorraine doesn't respect him either.
No, of course not. When they have that dinner scene in a few minutes, she's looking at him like she wants to claw his fucking eyes out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised Marty didn't hit Biff upside the head because I definitely would have.
Yeah.
Marty gets his fucking his revenge though.
I was waiting for him.
Oh, it was so good. Tom Wilson, one of the other few actors who's in all three of these movies.
Is that Biff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Biff. Playing Biff and then multiple versions of Biff. He's walking past Marty and he goes, what are you looking at, butthead? He's just throwing that insult around when he goes back to 1985 too. This guy never fucking matured. He did not change one bit.
Not one bit.
Marty mentions that the car's wrecked and he was really looking forward to going camping this weekend. Mm-hmm. He didn't tell his mother that he was going to spend the weekend with Jennifer because he didn't think she would approve of it.
And she wouldn't have.
She wouldn't have. Because she even mentions in the dinner scene that she doesn't like it when girls call boys. Mm-hmm. She's like, I never did that as a child. I never sat in cars with boys and chased after boys and lusted after boys. And sorry, just looking to see. Oh yeah, so we're there. We're actually at the dinner scene. Mm-hmm. George is watching a really old episode of The Honeymooners.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
What is The Honeymooners?
It was that show where the main guy was like a bus driver, and he was played by Jackie Gleason, who was really famous way back before we were born. He's got that line of always threatening to knock his wife to the moon.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Is that why they call it The Honeymooners?
I don't think that's why they call it The Honeymooners. I have no idea. They remade it in like the early 2000s with Mike Epps and Cedric the Entertainer as a movie. I never saw it.
Oh.
So he's watching that, and he's watching it like he's never fucking seen it before.
Wait, is Mike Epps, like, who's the wife?
I don't know who plays the wife.
Oh, it's not like
But
Mike Epps.
the two main characters are Jackie Gleason's character, the bus driver, and his friend. And in the one with Mike Epps and Cedric is the bus driver character, and Mike Epps is the friend character, I believe.
Is that show where the dude says "pal" right in the kisser?
Maybe.
Or was that from something else?
That might. It might be something else. Because he always threatens. He's like, one of these days, Alice, right to the moon. And he threatens to punch her.
Well, it's what we're missing in modern day relationships.
That's right.
Really.
That's exactly what we're missing.
In modern day, what now?
Relationships.
Oh, no, it's there. It's definitely there.
So you meet Marty's brother Dave, who works at Burger King.
Oh, is that what that outfit is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Dave has to deal with Doc Brown a lot. Because Doc Brown has an old Burger King in his house.
Right.
You meet his sister, Wendy.
Because they're really big fans of fast food.
The one who's Marty named after.
So like a McDonald's reference?
Sure.
Okay.
And his mother, Lorraine.
Or Marty's named after that one guy they met that one time.
That's true. That one guy they met named Marty. So Marty's mom is played by
Leah Thompson.
Thank you, Leah Thompson.
And she's introduced coming out of the kitchen holding a cake, talking about how her brother Joey didn't make parole and there's a little jailbird on the cake. And she's in old lady makeup.
The parents look terrible.
They look horrible.
The high definition does not do them any favors, as I said earlier.
Apparently, it is from there.
Oh, wow.
What?
The thing I was saying.
Pow
about
right in the
Pow
kisser.
right in the kisser. It is
One of
from
these
there.
days, Alice. Pow, right in the kisser.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yep.
Jeremy remembered that right. So,
It was wild.
yeah, not worth watching. So, Lorraine is mentioning she doesn't like when a girl calls a boy and all this.
She's just like, I don't like fast girls.
So, basically. And Wendy is talking about how she can't even get a boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And they start talking about how Lorraine and George met
Yeah.
at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance.
Yeah, well, yeah, because not Kelly.
Linda.
Wendy.
Sorry, Linda is the actress who plays Wendy.
Yeah.
My bad.
Wendy is like...
Nope. Sorry. Wendy is the actress who plays Linda. Linda is the sister's name. I got the names wrong. I'm sorry. Linda McFly.
Oh, that's a terrible name. That's a terrible name.
My mother's name is Linda.
Yeah, but your mom's name's not Linda McFly.
Well, I'd say my mother's last name, but it's very weird in Dutch.
Yeah.
From
But Linda's like, yeah, y'all met at the fish under the sea party.
It was the Enchantment Under the Sea party dance. And
Rhythmic rituals.
yeah, we'll get there. I wrote that down.
Yeah.
And she says something about they had their first kiss on their first date, and she's like, knew it was meant to be. And Linda says, that's not fair. Grandpa just hit him with his car.
Yeah.
And she goes, what were you doing, George? Bird watching? And he's sitting there doing that paperwork, and he looks at her and goes, what, Lorraine? What? And you can this woman's pouring straight vodka.
No ice. Warm ass sitting on the counter.
Yep.
She's just pouring it in this glass. She is going through something.
She is drunk.
I think
Every
there was
scene we
ice.
see her in this beginning.
I don't think there was ice because
was ice?
I said the same thing. I was like, she's drinking straight vodka.
I remember you said that, but I thought there was at least ice. in the
I
cup.
thought there was also ice, but I was too busy looking at the fact she was pouring straight fucking vodka.
Yeah.
This woman is finding some way to cope.
Oh, yeah.
But she tells this whole story about how she and George met. They went to the dance together. They shared their first kiss. And she was like, and that's when I knew I'd spend the rest of my life with him.
And George is like turned facing the camera, having the time, not the camera, the
TV. Having the time of his fucking life.
Yes.
Eating that peanut brittle.
Oh my god, I hated his laugh.
His laugh
Oh, it was
so
obnoxious, wasn't it?
Yes.
Almost like Eddie Murphy.
A little bit, yeah.
It's so
It
bad.
was so bad.
It's so terrible. And then
He did an interview about that laugh.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw. He mentioned Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen.
Because he was talking about how he didn't like it because people laughed at him when he did it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, oh God, they're laughing at my laugh.
Mm-hmm. There's a comedian I like named Jimmy Carr. His laugh is reversed. You know how like most people laugh on an exhale.
Mm-hmm.
Ha ha. Jimmy Carr laughs on an inhale. I can't even do it.
I knew a guy. There used to be a guy that worked with us who did that. Some dude.
I've never met anyone who did it before. That's wild.
It was weird.
But so George has this terrible laugh. I will say it's Eddie Murphy's laugh. Fine compared to this. This is so over exaggerated. After they have dinner,
Yes.
it jumps to like 12:20 a.m. Marty's asleep in his bed with all of his clothes on, wearing his
Passed out.
jeans and everything.
The way this boy sleeps, I hate.
Yes,
Like
ass up.
his
Oh my god.
arm is around him, and I just every time.
Everyone around this table right now is in our 30s
Yes.
or early 30s. I'm about to be mid 30s.
Congrats.
If any of us slept the way Marty is sleeping, our backs would hurt the next day.
Oh my god.
It
Like-
looks so uncomfortable.
Yes. And he's in tight ass skinny jeans.
They were just called regular jeans back then.
Back in the day, they were just regular jeans. The phone rings though, and it's Doc.
I just want to say, okay, George McFly is not even like the boss, but he has a nice house. a car, supporting his whole family. Marty has all this stuff that I don't think he's paying for with the job that he does not have.
Well, to be fair, we don't know if he has a job or not.
That's true.
They never talk about it. He might have a job.
That's true.
He might. Or he's just spoiled by his parents.
Which I think is the case.
Could be.
Because
they're not enough to spoil him to buy him that 4x4 that he likes.
Yeah, but even there, George McFly's supporting his whole family because I don't think Lorraine's working.
She's too drunk.
Yeah, so it's like
she can't go anywhere.
It's like, so while he's not doing, he's not a pushover, the man is doing still well in life.
I mean, financially, yes.
Yeah.
This is before Reagan was nice enough to introduce credit to the nation.
Fucking Reagan. You mentioned too much in this movie for my liking.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
So it's Doc who calls him, and Doc is like, Marty, you didn't forget about meeting me at Twin Pines Mall.
Now he's like, did you fall asleep?
Yeah. Yeah, no, Doc, he grabs some random bit of snack off of his table and starts eating it. God knows how long it's been sitting there. And Doc asks him to go back to his house and grab his camera.
Speaking of, there's so many random product placement in this.
Pepsi is all over this fucking movie.
I love that when he was sitting at the table and you just see Diet Pepsi, and I'm just like,
what? Oh, no, Etta. Diet Pepsi free.
Free, you're
but
right.
It's also
which I believe means it's caffeine free?
Oh.
It is 1 calorie, because the can said 1 calorie.
I'm about to look it up, because he mentioned Pepsi free, and then we see it a couple times.
And then there's that Budweiser that's also sitting on the table, that Bud Light.
Yes.
And then all around downtown is different places, because it's Texaco, it's Bank of America, it
is caffeine free.
Miller Lite truck was there.
The first time we see him skitching, the guy driving the Jeep is wearing a Mountain Dew hat.
Yep.
Like that vibrant green color, and he turns around and just boom, Mountain Dew.
There's just so much product placement. His alarm clock's giant Panasonic.
Yep.
The camera, JVC.
He rolls up to Twin Pines Mall. It's like 1:24 in the morning. Doc Brown's truck is there. It's like Dr. Emmett Brown 24-hour scientific assistance or something like that. Scientific needs services. So I think he's just helping people build meth labs.
Gotta be. He's great at blowing things up.
He is good.
Not just people. Terrorists. Specifically.
Well, we'll get to them. When he rolls up, Doc backs out of the back of his truck in this decked out DeLorean. Got all these little extra bits and bobs and shit on it.
But first there's the goodest boy ever.
Einstein.
Just sitting there.
Einstein looks sweet.
Yes. And he's just sitting there waiting, happy to be there.
This dog actor had an easy day on set. He pretty much just sat there most of the time you see him. But I loved when Doc gets out of the DeLorean, when the door opens, it's just full of fucking smoke.
You think he was hotboxing?
I absolutely think Doc was in there hotboxing because he's like, well, I'm getting ready for this big experiment. I'm going to get fucked up beforehand. We don't see it like that any other time it's used in the movie. No other time is this thing full of smoke. That man was high in this first meeting.
Which is probably good considering what's about to happen to him.
But when he gets out and he sees Marty, he's so happy to see this boy.
Well, it's been a week.
Oh, you actually showed up. Great, you bought the camera. And he explains that the date, the time, there's a big JCPenney sign behind him. He doesn't exactly say what the car is, but he shows that the watch he has around his neck and the watch Einstein has around his neck are synchronized. They read the exact same time. He makes Einstein get in the car, and he's controlling it with a little remote control. And a lot of the stuff in Doc's house and this remote reminded me of some of the stuff from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah.
Because the lawnmower in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids has a big remote like that. The big dog puppet that's in the car when the car starts driving with the remote control, I love that.
I did not realize it was a puppet. I was like, wow, that dog's doing such a great job of just sitting there.
No, because like you can see the mouth is just wide open, so the person can see through it.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it looked like a puppet. So Doc drives the car across the parking lot, and he tells Marty, when this baby gets up to 88 miles an hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
But my favorite part is like, Marty, you gotta keep the camera on the car.
Yes. And Doc starts revving up the car engine, and you can see on this little control pad what it's going to. It's like 35, 45, 55. And it starts to... He lets off the brake, and the car is heading right toward them. And Marty goes to step out of the way, and Doc looks at him, and he's like, where the fuck are you going?
He's like,
no, if I'm going out, you're coming with me, kid.
We're going together.
Yes. And the car hits 88 miles an hour. It starts to flash, and it just disappears past them. And these trails of fire go where the tires were.
Yeah, and they're like standing in this fire.
Right in the fire.
It was like, and they're just so calm about it.
Looking
Like their
CGI
legs not
was
burning.
not-
But what was great was the license plate of the car fell off. The out of time specialized license plate. Mm-hmm. And Marty goes to pick it up, and he's like, "Oh my God, Doc, you disintegrated Einstein." He goes, "No, Marty, I didn't disintegrate Einstein. He and the car, fine. They're just displaced in time. Einstein has become the world's first time traveler." And again, Marty has the great delivery of, "Wait, Doc, are you telling me you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Precisely, Marty."
That's right, Morty.
Oh, yeah. This very much inspired Rick and Morty, too. We were talking about that yesterday. Just
Yeah.
Doc's not drunk.
Yeah, Doc and Marty, Rick and Morty. It's
Absolutely.
literally-
Yes.
And if you watch any episode of Rick and Morty, in the garage on Rick's shelf, there is a box literally labeled time travel stuff. Mm-hmm. Because it's just something they have on the shelf.
So if the dog was the first time traveler, how did Doc figure out that the car time travels at 88 miles per hour?
Well, he had 30 years to figure it out. It's now a paradox loop.
I mean,
I that might be one of those things you just don't think about, but I also believe that the DeLoreans were known for being terribly slow.
It was a theory.
So
He didn't know for sure.
or it might just be one of those, I did the science math and you need to go this fast.
I guess.
Maybe.
The science math.
The science math.
Right.
The math science.
But he says that he programmed the car to reappear 1 minute from when it left. Mm-hmm. And thinking quickly, because the timer goes off, he pulls, I almost said Morty, he pulls Marty out of the way, and the car flies through right where they were standing. So if they hadn't been paying attention or had not had that watch set, they both would have died. And then the next day, someone's going to come across a crime scene where two people were hit by a car, and there's
Driven
a
by
fucking
a dog.
Yes! Oh my God, this dog's going to be tried for manslaughter.
It's like, it's even funnier too, because like they would have been dead. The dog's in the car, right? And then there's the stolen plutonium that's also sitting there.
Yeah, but we also know the Libyans are coming.
Yeah.
The Libyans! So Doc basically explains that for Einstein, that little trip was instantaneous. He literally skipped over that minute in time to get to where they are now. So Doc's machine works. So now he's planning to go 25 years into the future just to see what things are like. He wants to travel, and he's really excited about it. Marty tells him to look him up when he gets there. And Doc's like throwing his suitcase in the front trunk of this car. And he's like, "Oh, I almost forgot. Extra plutonium. I need fuel." And as he goes to get it, Einstein starts to bark, and this little Volkswagen bus comes driving in. And Doc's like, "Oh my God, they found me."
Wait, but before then, Doc explains how it works to Marty.
You're right, he does.
And so you get, like, he, like, picks some weird arbitrary dates. It's like, do you want to go see the signing of the Declaration of Independence? And he puts in July 4th, 1776. And he's like, or the birth of Christ. And he puts December 25th, 000. And then he's like, or the invention of science. And then
the invention, when he came up with the flux capacitor.
Yes.
Which is how the machine works.
And then he puts in the specific date of November 5th.
1955.
And then he gives Marty the story of how he was trying to hang a clock above the toilet, and it was wet, which is disgusting, and he slips and falls.
No, above his bathtub.
Was it his bathtub or his
He-
toilet?
Toilet.
I think he was standing on his toilet, hanging a clock above his bathtub.
Yeah, and then the toilet was wet, and he slipped and fell and hit his head.
And I woke up and I drew this.
On the sink.
Yes,
Rick
you
and
were right.
Yeah.
That's when he says the thing about he's gonna. They also put more fuel in it. Mm-hmm. They put the plutonium in there, and they both have radiation suits on. And this is where Marty's like, "Doc, where'd you get plutonium? Mm-hmm. Did you steal this?" And Doc's like, "Ah, shh. I got it from some Libyans. They wanted me to build a bomb.
Not just Libyans, Libyan nationalists.
Libyan nationalists. And
Specific.
Yeah.
specific. But he says...
But like the first time I heard it, I was like, I thought he said Lithuanian. And so I was like, what is going on with Lithuania?
they're in hard times, man.
In 1985, probably.
1985 hard times.
Yeah, but he says I gave them a bomb casing full of pinball parts.
Yeah.
And this is where...
Because they wanted him to build a bomb, right?
They wanted him to build a bomb. And this is where he's like, oh, almost forgot fuel, because he's about to leave on a little adventure. The Libyans show up, and he says, they found me. I don't know how, but they found me. And Marty's like, who found you? He goes, who do you think? The Libyans!
They had so much time to get out of there.
So much time.
While he
So
was just standing there, it's
much.
like, oh God, they found me. I don't know how, but they found. Like, you should be running right now. What are you doing?
Hopping in
throw
the car.
the plutonium in the car and get the fuck out of there. But that Doc tells Marty to run. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he's like, I'll draw their fire. So he's caring about this kid. Wants to look out for him. And then he does one of the dumbest things this smart man could do. He pulls a revolver out of his toolbox and he tries to shoot it, but it doesn't fire. And his first instinct is to look down the barrel. He tilts his back and he's like, oh, is there anything in there? And then he tries to run and they corner him and he throws the gun and they just blow him away. He's like, oh, look, I'm not armed anymore. And they shoot him.
The Libyans didn't come to play because they were like, oh no, we're out of ammo. And then they pull out a fucking rocket launcher.
Well, first they try to shoot Marty. I almost said Morty again. They try to shoot him, but the gun jams. Mm-hmm. Luckily. So he jumps into the DeLorean and he's just trying to drive away. He goes, let's see if you guys can do 90. He's not thinking.
Yeah.
And he's zooming across this parking lot. They pull out a rocket launcher. And does he juke him? Because they never actually fire the rocket launcher. But he hits that 88 miles an hour, and he's in this parking lot, and then boom, he's in a field and he hits a scarecrow. And this was a good thing. It was pretty funny. He hits the scarecrow. Ah! Scarecrow falls off. He's driving right at a barn. Ah! Crashes right into the barn. Oh, and when Doc was explaining to him about how the time travel worked, because he's like, there's three displays. Here's where you want to go. Here's where you are, and here's where you were.
Yep.
And he goes, I remember when all this land was nothing but fields. Mm-hmm. Belonged to Old Man Peabody. Had a thing about wanting to breed pine trees.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Marty goes back in time, he's on Old Man Peabody's ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And he crashes in the barn, and his stupid son is like, that's an alien spaceship. Mm-hmm. And he pulls up a comic. And Marty's got the radiation suit on, and it's not doing him any fucking favors.
Nope.
And Old Man Peabody just comes out blasted.
I mean, to be fair, they did give him time to come out. Like, so
to be fair to what?
I mean, like, so
They try to shoot him.
This random car comes in. They go and they see it. The door opens up, and he's like,
ain't got no wings.
Yeah, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And then Marty's like struggling to figure out what's going on.
They never ask if he's okay.
I thought they did.
No.
Oh.
They never asked if he was okay. He literally opens the door, falls out in his radiation suit. They think he's an alien. Mm-hmm. They run. He comes out, and he's with the mask pulled up. You can see his face.
Well, then, because then the son's like, he started mutating to look like a human.
Right,
he said
but
he mutated in a
he
human
did,
form.
but Marty was like, "Hey, I'm sorry about your barn," and they mentioned that, and the Old Man Peabody's like, "Take that, you mutated son of a bitch!"
Yeah,
and just puts 2 rounds through the barn door. Could have shot his cows. Marty takes off and he runs over a pine tree, and you can hear Old Man Peabody. Oh no, my pine! You killed my pine!
Yep.
And Marty, he drives down the road and he hits the brakes, and he gets out and he's right there at the brand new construction. Sorry, you can hear our dogs playing in the background. The brand new construction, nothing built yet for Lion Estates.
Yep.
Like the 2 entrance lions are there. Mm-hmm. The rest is just dirt. Mm-hmm. And Marty's confused as fuck. And this is the first time the car breaks down. Because he stops in the middle of the road and he gets back in to keep going, and the car won't fucking start.
He doesn't just stop in the middle of the road. The man is taking up the 2 lanes.
Yeah, he is. He just gets out of the car, leaves it there. But then there's that old couple. He asks for help.
Yep.
And the woman's like, drive! wife.
Oh yeah, she wasn't having it.
This guy doesn't look right. He's probably a commie.
Yes.
Look, he's not wearing a suit and tie. He hides it behind the Lion Estates
Sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, the coming soon sign.
Like the bulldozer people won't find it.
Yeah, well, lucky for him, it's probably a weekend.
Okay.
Could very well be a weekend for him.
Maybe.
Because he is in 1955 for a week. He sees a sign for Hill Valley, which I don't think we mentioned the name of the town. Was Hill Valley. It's 2 miles away. So he walks to town, and now the town is fresh and clean. Everything looks shiny and new. 1955, so they're one color of people.
Oof.
And they look like me.
There, I think maybe 7 black people in this whole film.
And 5 of them are in a band.
Yeah.
He walks past. It's not Lou's aerobic studio. Lou. It is Lou's diner. So he goes into Lou's diner, and the clock is also working.
Yes.
The clock in the center of town. It's on top of what I assume is the town hall. We never really see the inside of this building. And immediately, the first of many times, someone's like, "Hey kid, you jumped ship? What's with the life preserver?" Because Marty has this big orange puffy vest on.
Which is weird. Did they not have puppy vests before 1985?
I mean, you go out in the street, you're not dressing like how Marty's dressed.
Yeah, people don't dress like that in 1955 times.
If you're a grown man, you wear a suit.
That's true. Because my grandma, every time I go to the airport, she's like aghast that I'm going in leggings and a t-shirt. She's like, "You're not dressing up?" I'm like, "To why?"
Right, and they dress up just to leave the house.
Yeah.
They also all have to shave, because if you go outside with facial hair, they might execute you. And he just has to use the phone, and he looks up Doc's number. Doc doesn't answer. He tears the page out, and no one says anything about it. But when he goes up and asks, he's in the middle of asking Lou, "Hey, where's Maple?" What the hell is the name of the street?
It's like 116 Maple Hill or something like that.
Something like
Maple Hill Run.
No, I don't think it's Maple, because they say later it's a block past Maple.
Oh,
So
something
it's-
Run.
Hold on, I think I wrote it down.
But let's circle back real fast. This is where we get our first mention of Ronald Reagan, because it's a movie sign for 50 cents to go see the movie of Ronald Reagan and some lady. And also, I haven't looked at a yellow page in a while, a phone book. It's been a couple decades. Did they normally list your occupation next to your name in the yellow pages?
Oh yeah, because doesn't it say scientist?
Yeah.
I mean,
Is that a thing?
maybe it's for like a business profession.
Your name, number, and I don't know if they had your address.
I think they had your address. Yeah.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they used to.
Yeah, but no, they didn't used to list your occupation.
And did you have to sign up for it? It's like, hey, I would like my name listed in this.
I have no idea how that works.
And if you moved, did you have to update it when you got your driver's license?
I don't remember.
Is it like when you go get your mail?
This is before any of our time.
I just remember my grandma's name was in the yellow pages because she had them, and I remember I used to flip through them sometimes, and I'd be like, "There's that relative's number. There's that relative's number." I was just looking for
people you knew.
yeah, and calling them and harassing them till my grandma yelled at me to get off the phone.
Wow.
Nice. The only real point of reference I have for looking up yellow page stuff is that scene in The Terminator when he's looking up all the Sarah Connors to kill. I never had to use a yellow pages or a phone book.
I wonder if they harassed them to fill out censuses
Maybe.
back then.
Like you had to, gun to head, fill this out.
No, don't look down the barrel. What are you, Doc Brown? So he rips out the page. He looks up Doc's number. It's also Riverside Drive.
Oh, okay.
I found it in my notes.
There you go.
And as he's asking Lou where this is, Lou immediately interrupts. "Kid, you gonna order something?"
He's so rude.
So rude. Lou likes a bully, though, because he has no problem with Biff coming in here terrorizing George.
At all. Specifically, only George, though.
Only George. But he's like, "Hey, all right, give me a Pepsi free. Or give me a Tab." Which, in 1985, was a soda, which I believe was made by Coke.
Okay. Is Coke or is Tab like a Mountain Dew product, or is it like a?
No, it's made by Coke.
Yeah, I know, but is it is it like a brown?
Oh, what color is it?
Yeah.
I think it depended on the flavor of Tab.
There are different flavors of Tab.
Yeah, look it up. You got your phone. Google it. I'm not going to look that trash up.
You don't want that on your search history?
I don't want that on my search history. So Tab was a drink in the 80s. Not around here. So Lou is like, "Kid, can't open you a Tab unless you order something." He's all right, well, give me a Pepsi free. "Kid, I'm not giving you a Pepsi free. You got to pay for it. Or give me something with no caffeine." And so Lou gives him no sugar. Sorry, he wants something with no sugar. So Lou gives him a cup of coffee.
Root beer or ginger ale.
It was discontinued in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I missed it.
I think in America. I think they still make it in other countries.
I've never seen a tab.
I've never seen a tab.
Really?
Yeah.
That red soda?
I think.
Where
I
have
think,
you seen a
In the
tab?
red can?
I think the can color depended on the flavor. Am I crazy? You guys would know. You never
I
seen
don't
one.
know. I've never seen it.
I want to say I've seen it. Like, you ever seen a Shasta?
Yeah, I've had Shasta. I like
Yeah.
a Shasta.
So when he asked, give me a tab, you didn't know he was asking for a soda?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. He's asking, and Lou doesn't
I
get
didn't
it.
know you didn't know.
I didn't know.
I don't know when Tab was invented, invented. I don't know when it started.
I
just knew
thought
was
it
old.
ended in like before my lifetime.
No. So Lou gives him a cup of coffee. So the way the shot is blocked.
Wait,
it-
did you say about the Pepsi free joke? Because I thought that was clever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he asked for a Pepsi free, and Lou was like, "Kid can't give you anything free. You got to pay for it." Mm-hmm. The way that the shot is blocked, Lou puts the coffee in front of Marty, and Marty is sitting there with his hand on the back of his head. And when Lou steps away, there's another guy sitting there in the exact same position, and you hear the door open, and you hear, "Hey, McFly!" And they both turn and look, and it's young Biff. And Marty is now sitting next to a 17-year-old version of his father.
Who surprisingly was kind of hot. Like I saw him and I was like, damn, George McFly.
Do you know what else he's in?
Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which we mentioned earlier.
And Alice in
Grant.
Wonderland.
Is he really? Who's he in Alice in Wonderland?
He's the knight.
Oh.
That tried to stab the big kid lady.
Yeah.
Oh.
The Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Oh.
The night with the eye patch?
Oh.
Stain.
That's George McFly.
What is his name?
Was it the first one?
Yes.
There's a second one?
Yeah, there's Through the Looking Glass.
Oh, I missed that
I
one.
think that's the one where she actually fights the Jabberwocky.
No.
No, she fought the Jabberwocky in the
first
first one. Sorry. I haven't seen it in a very long time. Never saw the second one.
It's
The
all right.
dragon thing, played by Christopher Lee.
Oh, okay. I was taking the break. I was
But
like,
yeah, he's the, and I was like, oh, so he's always played like awkward roles.
yes.
Yeah, 'cause
Every creepy
his,
man ever.
his
Yeah.
father, Bruce Glover, was a Bond
villain.
Not the main villain. He was a Bond henchman in the 70s. In Sean Connery's last official Bond film, Diamonds Are Forever, Crispin Glover's father is one of the main heavies in that movie.
Okay.
He looks so much like his father, only his face isn't as
But
round.
better. Because he was fine in
He's
this.
better, stronger, faster.
He was looking good. I was like, I see it. I get it.
Crispin Glover's a handsome
I
guy.
get it.
He's not bad looking.
Yeah.
But he is just as much of a pushover in his 40s as he is here in his teens. He is just getting bullied. And again, the same conversation happens where Biff is like, "You got my homework ready?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I'll bring it to you on Monday." And you can't do that. If I turn in my homework in your handwriting, it's gonna look bad and I get kicked out of school. You don't want that, do you, McFly? He also calls him Irish Bug.
Which is weird. Like, how do we know he's Irish?
I don't.
Is
really
he
think
like
that's
fresh off the boat?
I don't really think
Oh.
that's important to the
Probably
story.
because he's a redhead.
I mean, you can tell I'm
he a
Irish by
redhead?
looking at me.
I think so.
His hair's too greasy to tell for me.
He's so wet in this.
I thought he had red hair.
George McFly is never dry.
At all. He's dripping in every scene.
I didn't mean for that to rhyme. but it's the same conversation he had with him at the beginning. He grabs his shirt and he's hitting him on the head again. Goes, "Think, McFly, think." And he looks at Marty and he goes, "What are you looking at, butthead?" And they make another joke about his vest. Biff leaves and it was the same thing at the first conversation. George said he was going to drop the paperwork off, and he said, "Not too early, I sleep in on Saturdays." And here, in 1955, he tells me to drop it off on Sunday, and Biff says, "Not too early, I sleep in on Sundays." It's the same, he's been getting the same bully treatment for his whole life.
Although it's less sad here.
Because he's a child?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is sad because Lou's not sticking up for him. Lou, a grown-ass adult, she'd be like, "Hey, I don't want that shit in here, get out."
Yeah.
But also Biff says, "Good, I don't want to see you in here again." This is where there's that shot of George eating his cereal and Marty just kind of slides into frame looking at him, kind of mouth agape. And George is finally like, What are you looking at? What do you want?
Because he's trying so hard to ignore him.
Trying. But Marty's burning a hole in the side of his fucking head. And he goes, you're George McFly. He goes, yeah, and who are you? And Goldie, the Marty's present-day mayor. Oh, also when he got back to 1955, they were running things for re-elect Mayor Red Thomas. Goldie is like, you can't let them bully you around like that, boy. I'm going to night classes. I'm going to be somebody someday. And Marty said, yeah, you're going to be mayor. He goes, yeah, I'm going to be Mayor Goldie. He goes, I like the sound of that. I'm going to clean up this town. And when Marty turns back after Goldie walks away, George is just gone. He dipped out of the diner. He's on his bike. He's riding away.
Although Lou's like, he's like, you can clean up the town after you clean up this diner.
Yeah, and he hands him a mop.
Yeah.
Or a broom.
Yeah, and he's like, a colored mayor. Sure.
That's not the worst thing that's said in this movie, but I was not expecting that. Because not only was this movie, I guess they're trying to go for some historical accuracy because people were terrible in the 50s, but this movie was directed by Robert Zemeckis, and it was produced by Steven Spielberg and Kathleen Kennedy.
Ooh, Star Wars.
Yeah. Marty is running downtown, and he sees George's bike next to a tree, and he's looking around, doesn't see George, and then he looks up, and George is in a tree with some binoculars, and he's not bird watching.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, he's probably bird watching.
Because Lorraine mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
What was it, George? Bird watching?
And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And then it pans up to what he's looking at, and I was like, oh no, he's a pervert.
He's watching what I assume to be Lorraine. We don't see the person's face. We don't even see a close-up. But it's someone who is not dressed all the way. And Marty's like, he's a peeping Tom. And then he falls out of the tree, and Marty runs and pushes him out of the way of this oncoming car. Marty gets hit by the car, bashes his fucking head on the ground. George takes off, and this guy, Sam,
The best moment in
has
the movie.
one of the funniest parts of the movie. You want to say it?
He goes, oh god, what's the mom's name?
The mother's name is Stella.
He's like, Stella! Another one of these kids ran in front of my car again.
And I don't think that the kids keep running in front of his car. I think this guy's a bad driver.
It just makes me wonder, like, how many kids has he hit? This is a conversation he has to be like, again.
And something where it's not that big of a deal. He's kind of just like, oh, another one.
But it's like, it's kind of funny though, because George pops up in like the front frame, and he's like disoriented, and he like looks at the guy. He's like, what are you doing here? And then he just gets up and runs off and doesn't even check to see if Marty's okay.
No. George is just like, oh, I got to get out of here before I get my creep license.
Oh, yeah. So then it cuts to Marty, like, waking up. Or he's like, Mom? And it's like, she's like, yeah, it's okay. I'm here.
No, she says something like, oh, you're awake.
Yeah.
You've been asleep for like 9 hours.
And she's like putting like a cold compress on his head.
It's dark. He says something about, I had a really bad dream where I traveled back in time. And she's like, well, you're safe now. Safe here in 1955. And Marty's like, 55? And then the lights turn on, and it's a young Lorraine. And Marty is like horrified. And she keeps calling him Calvin.
Yeah.
Why are you calling me Calvin? Well, it's on your underwear. Calvin Klein. I've never seen purple underwear before. And she goes to like try to pull the blanket up to look. And he goes, where are my pants? Oh, they're over there on my hope chest.
It's just like so weird. Like, how did he get up there? Like, who carried him up there?
Who took his pants off?
All right.
Definitely.
I have
And
a
why
theory.
are his underwear purple?
Well, I have a theory for that one. I have a definite answer for you, and I have a answer for you.
Nice.
Who took him up there? I'm going to assume Sam and Stella. Why are his pants off? Lorraine's a pervert. Why are they purple? I think that was just the color of the underwear. I own purple underwear.
I might need to give me some purple underwear.
Go ahead. MeUndies. Not a sponsor, but they could be.
I mean, it was the 80s, so...
Right. I mean, we're lucky they're not
fair.
leopard print,
That is true.
which is what I would expect if you asked me what 80s underwear
If
looked
it
like.
was New Jersey, it definitely would have been leopard.
Or the guy who plays Mike Epps' dad in Next Friday. So she's like, you hit your head. She's acting like real this girl is
She's
freaking
so
lusting after this
thirsty.
boy. Yes, thirsty. And Marty is just like horrified. This boy is getting a boner for his mom. He's like, you're my mom, so thin.
I don't think he's like getting a boner for her, but I think he's like, oh wow, she was not always hideous.
Yeah, because they older Lorraine is a bit larger than young Lorraine.
Mm-hmm.
Not a big woman. I wouldn't call her fat, but Marty is just horrified that this girl is getting so close to him, touching him, and it's his fucking mother.
Yeah.
I would just kill me. You know, you just
Just take me out.
just throw me in a hole. I'd rather be dead than go through what Marty's about to go through.
Damn.
Because there's and this is how I know she's the one that took his pants off. You can hear her mother Stella go, "Lorraine, are you up there?" And she goes, "Oh no, it's my mother." And she goes, "Put your pants back on."
She just like yeets it at him.
She took his fucking pants off. Poor Marty. He's gonna need
Marty.
so much therapy, and the therapist isn't gonna believe him.
Of course not.
No. And he goes downstairs, and Stella, I recognized her, and it took me a minute.
Mm-hmm.
This is the mom from Gremlins.
Oh.
Yeah?
Okay.
And the center of town in this movie is the same set from Gremlins.
I would have never picked that one up.
No.
Well, to be fair, the set of, when you saw it in Gremlins, it was all covered in snow.
Yeah, because it is a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie. And I
it
believe
was set at night along.
most of it was set at night.
Yeah.
And they're only a year apart. So this set hadn't been completely torn down yet when they needed it for this movie. I believe Gremlins was the year before.
Yes.
Nice.
And she makes the comment of, when'd you get into port? He says, port? And she goes, yeah, you're in the Navy, I guess from the vest. The life jacket.
It's such a bad joke, and they kept running with it.
Right. And he says something about the Coast Guard. Mm-hmm. She brings him downstairs. And she's like, Sam, quit messing with that TV. Here's the boy you hit with your car. And her father's like, what were you doing in the damn street? And she's like, well, come have dinner with us. And Lorraine is like, sit next to me. She like grabs him and she's like, you're gonna sit here. And she says, well, here's my 3 younger children, and here's our baby Joey. He just loves being in that crib. Every time we take him out, he starts crying, so we just leave him in there. And Marty gets down next to the crib, and he goes, so you're my Uncle Joey, huh? Better get used to these bars, kid.
So messed up.
Great joke. And as they're sitting there at the table, the dad wheels over the TV, and they're like, oh, we just got this today. You know, Dad just set it up, and they're watching The Honeymooners. The same episode of The Honeymooners that they were watching at the beginning of the film. Mm-hmm. So this is where that meme came from of, oh, I've seen this one. And it's like, what do you mean it's new?
I've never seen this meme.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to show it to you, or one of them. So they're asking, Stella asks Marty, do I know your mother?
She was so good at the scene.
And Marty slowly turns and looks at Lorraine. Yeah, I kind of think you do. She was upstairs molesting me in her room. And they're like, oh.
Which is better. She's like, your face looks so familiar. And I'm like, yeah, probably because it's your face.
Grandma. But she asks about, or Lorraine says he should stay with them for the night because Dad hit him with his car. And like, oh, Marty, we should call your parents because, oh, there's nobody home. Then he asks, hey, where's Riverside Drive? Mm-hmm. And Sam says, it's on the other side of town, a block past Maple. A block past Maple? That's John F. Kennedy Drive. And the dad has the great response, who the hell's John F. Kennedy? And Marty's just kind of quiet, like, right, that guy hasn't been president yet.
But he should be either gearing up to run or...
Well, Kennedy didn't even finish his first term, right?
Oh, I thought he was in his second term when he got killed.
Oh, see, I'm not sure. I know he died in 1963.
I don't know. This one was in 55, and then they came from 85?
Right.
Yeah.
So he went back 30 years.
That's
Kennedy won't be shot for another 8 years.
Yeah. It's a big gap.
Well, while you look that up,
Yeah.
Lorraine says that Marty should spend the night and he can stay in her room. And as she says this, she grips his thigh, and he jumps up out of the table and he runs out of the house. He runs to Doc's house. He sees the garage, and then he walks up the sidewalk.
Oh no, you're right. It was his first term.
Okay, so no one knew who the hell Kennedy was in 55 in this house.
He was in the Senate.
Oh, okay. And Doc had this big, beautiful mansion. This was a nice house.
It was really beautiful. It was really nicely lit. That lawn was. I was like, damn, Doc.
It was on a hill. Mm-hmm. Nice house. And when he knocks on the door, Doc just pulls him into the house. He's got this big, goofy contraption on his head.
Which makes me think Doc was definitely somehow working for the government. In a weird, he was definitely building bombs.
Well, he said something about spending his family fortune on the plutonium.
Okay.
He spent his on, I think, the whole project, not just the plutonium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to make this time travel thing a reality.
They stole the plutonium.
Yes,
Okay.
he stole the plutonium.
So maybe he came from a rich family with a mansion?
I think he
Okay.
came from money.
Yeah, he said he
Yeah.
squandered his family fortune trying to get the time machine thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But Doc is like, don't tell me anything. And he licks this suction cup and he sticks it to Marty's forehead. He goes, all right, you're here for, you want me to buy a subscription to the Saturday Morning Post? He goes, no, Doc, I'm here to, no, don't tell me. You want a donation for the Naval Youth Auxiliary. He goes, and he pulls the suction cup off and he's like, Doc, I'm from the future. I came here in a time machine that you built. And Doc is like, do you know what that means? It means this damn thing doesn't work. You can see he's got a bandage on his forehead.
Mm-hmm.
Marty's chasing him around the house, and Doc goes over to a table, and Marty's like, look, I'm from the future. Here's my driver's license. Look when it expires. Look at my date of birth. I haven't even been born yet. And he's like, look, here's a picture of me and my siblings. Look at my sister's shirt. Class of 84. And Doc has these little tong things that they look like the tool they use for phrenology.
What's phrenology?
It is a science that is proved to not do anything. It was like measuring the skull.
Is it like Wumbo?
I don't even get what joke you're trying to make.
Moving on.
Jesus Christ.
How many beers have you had?
I think Eric has had too many beers.
It's a SpongeBob reference.
No, I get it, but I don't know how it applies to this.
Wombology, man. The study of wombo.
You guys are the worst. So, but I noticed it looks like phrenology, which is a fake science, but it makes sense for him to be using it in 55.
Okay, wait, but can you explain the fake science?
It's not. It's like. Wow.
That wombo really got you.
It did. I got womboed.
Fucking wombology, dog.
But it's like
First grade.
showing that the dents and grooves and size of your skull determine certain things, which is proved to not mean anything because I don't believe they could find any kind of thing that substantiated it.
Is it like they're trying to compare it to like a koala brain that doesn't have any of the thinky bits?
Maybe, but it's stuff like that. But that's what I don't know for sure if that's what he was doing. But he takes these little things and he puts them to the side of his head, which made me think of the phrenology thing. And I remembered it because Dr. Krieger mentions it on an episode of Archer back in the day. Wow. So anyway, but if you notice, and I noticed this on my second watch, when he takes the photograph from Marty and looks at it, he says to Marty that's just some photographic trickery. They erased your brother's hair. Mm-hmm. If you look at the photo, Dave's hair is gone. He's already started to disappear. Mm-hmm. So he goes, well, if you're from the future, who's president in 1985? He goes, Ronald Reagan. And Doc goes, the actor? And then he starts listing off all these other celebrities who could be parts of his cabinet. And he grabs all these blueprints and shit, and he runs out to his garage. Marty's chasing him. He goes, I've had enough for tonight, future boy. He goes, no, Doc, listen to me. You told me about November 5th, 1955, the day you invented time travel. You were hanging a clock above your toilet. You slipped and fell, hit your head, and you came up with the idea for the flux capacitor. And this is where Doc opens the door, like in shock, like, holy shit. I didn't tell anybody about that. That just happened. You can still see the bandage on my forehead. Mm-hmm. Marty takes him to the car that he had stashed out. It looks like they're in the middle of a storm. It is windy as fuck out there. And Doc's like, yeah, I fell. I hit my head. And when I came to, I drew this. And he pulls the picture out of his pocket. And Marty shows him the thing in the car. And Doc is instantly convinced that he did this. Marty is showing Doc the tape of when he time traveled.
This is a hell of a battery.
Not just a hell of a battery. How the fuck are they hooking up a 1985 video camera to a 1955 TV?
Exactly.
You hop down to Radio Shack and get some connectors?
Because, like, it's weird. Because, like, I know I wouldn't be able to connect anything from now to a TV in 1985 with what the technology we have.
You can barely connect something from the early 2000s to a TV now.
Like, there's no way we would be able to charge our phones.
No. But he's showing him the recording, and in the moment where Doc says in the tape that it's the DeLorean runs on electricity, but he needs the nuclear reactor to create enough electricity to make it work, and it's a 1.21 gigawatts.
Gigawatts, not gigawatts, which is how it probably should be pronounced.
Could be.
I think it is.
Yeah.
It don't matter.
Okay.
But Doc starts freaking out, and he's like, "A 1.21 gigawatts!" And he runs out of the garage, and Marty's like, "What the hell's a gigawatt?" And Doc is in his house talking to a photograph or a portrait of Thomas Edison. Mm-hmm. He's like, "How could I be so reckless? Tom, how could I do this?" And he's got pictures of Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Edison, Isaac Newton.
I think it's Isaac Newton.
And there's a fourth one. He's got 4 portraits hanging above his fireplace. And you see 2 of these in the opening credits in his garage. Okay. The Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Edison. And he's like, "Look, Marty, there's no way we can do this. You're stuck here." And he goes, "Doc, I have to get home. I have a girl." And I think this conversation feels very unnatural, but I think it just needs to happen for Marty to pull the flyer out. Because Doc just goes, "Is she pretty?" He's like, "Oh, she's beautiful. And look what she wrote for me. She wrote this down," and it's the phone number on the back of the flyer.
He's like, "This tells you everything you need to know."
Yeah. She gave me a phone number to her grandparents' house, and she wrote, "I love you." That's teenage love.
Yeah, man.
That's everything.
Yeah.
That's everything. And Doc is like, "Look, Marty, the only thing that has that much electricity is a bolt of lightning. Now, I'm sure in 1985 you can get plutonium on any street corner. But here in 1955, we don't have that."
Any Libyan lemonade stand.
Yeah. And he goes, "There's no way to predict when lightning's going to strike." And Marty had that flyer out. Mm-hmm. He goes, "We do now. Look," he shows him. "Lightning will strike the clock tower at 10:04 p.m. He says this Saturday night." Mm-hmm. He goes, "All right, perfect. We need to hang out for a week, and we're going to send you back to the future." Please.
Didn't they also figure out at that time that he was just the people from the photos were disappearing, or was that a little later?
It's right here.
Okay.
Because after he tells Marty that Marty says something about, "I can hang out in 1955 for a week. You can show me around." Doc says, "No, you shouldn't leave this house. Have you interacted today with anyone other than me?" And Marty says, "Well, I mean, I kind of ran into my parents." And this is where Doc asks him to see the photograph again. And this time when we look in the photograph, Dave's head is completely gone. Mm-hmm. And Marty says, Doc says something about erased from existence. And if he doesn't fix this, whatever he changed, if he doesn't fix it, Marty's going to cease to be.
Why is it that it starts with the oldest brother first, not the youngest brother?
Because then the movie wouldn't happen.
Okay.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Fair.
I would honestly think it would start with the youngest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I guess it's working backwards. Like, their relationship never happened, so then Dave never happened, then Linda never happened, and now Marty's never going to happen, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know. In my head, I feel like if they never met, then I guess...
I would assume it would also work backwards. Okay. But if that were the case...
The further temporal moment would have gone first.
Yeah. But if it went that way, we wouldn't have the movie.
Okay.
Marty would already be gone.
Yeah.
So it for movie's sake, it has to go this way.
Okay.
Also, it's all make-believe scientific nonsense anyway.
True.
They could have started with the middle child. Who knows?
As an older sibling, though, it hurts my heart that Jay wouldn't go first.
Wow. So they go to school the next day, and Marty has been given some nice 1955 clothes. Doc is telling him, "Look, if we don't fix this thing between your parents, whatever you messed up, you're going to dissolve next, just like your brother." And Marty says, "Man, this is heavy." To which Doc replies, "Oh, weight has nothing to do with it." And they go into the school. I love how they just walk into this school, No one stops them. No one's like, hey, let me give you a visitor's pass. Why are you here? Just, hey, 2 white guys walking into a school, go ahead.
Like, schools was safe back then.
That's true. Well, not for nerds.
Or communists.
That's true. George McFly is getting bullied every second of the day.
This poor man.
I feel bad for her.
Yeah.
Kicking the crap out of it.
Oh, but it's
Literally.
funny. But it's funny because Doc is like, all right, now which one's you pop? And it's he's right there. He's getting kicked. He's got a kick me sign on him. And Doc jumps into the burning, and Doc says, "You sure you weren't adopted?" It's like, you came out of that, and he's like, he sounds like he's almost on the verge of tears.
Yeah.
These guys are just kicking him, and he turns around and he's getting kicked from the other side, and then Strickland shows up.
Well, he's literally getting his ass kicked.
Literally. But Strickland walks up, and Strickland's like, don't you have any self-respect for yourself? You're not going to amount to anything. And he pulls the kick me sign off his back. And Marty is like, geez, didn't that guy ever have any hair? Because Strickland looks the exact same to me.
Aging well.
Yeah, in 55 and in 85, the only thing is different is the little bit of hair he has around the back of his head
And he has
is
like
gone.
a little bit of like a aging around his eyes.
Like the crow's feet?
Yeah.
But other than that, I think they didn't really age up James Tolkien too much.
Nope.
Joking.
Tolkien. Doc tells him, all right, well, go introduce your father to your mother. And immediately, Lorraine is smitten by Marty. Doesn't even look at George.
Yeah, because he like walks up and she's like, hey, Lorraine, I got somebody for you. And she's like, oh, Calvin.
Yes. And George does this thing of he just turns around and walks away.
Yep.
And the bell rings and Doc is like, oh my God. He's like, your mother is completely infatuated with you. Barty has another great moment of, Doc, are you telling me that my mom has the hots for me?
That's right, Morty.
I'm afraid so, Marty. The only thing missing was friggin' Doc burping the whole movie.
That was it.
He goes, we gotta find a way to get your parents together. If these two don't mate, you'll cease to exist. We gotta get you home somehow. We gotta fix this first.
Because it's like he comes up with this like weird theory. He's like, it's the Florence Nightingale effect.
Yes, when nurses fall in love with their patients.
Apparently that's a thing.
I've heard that expression before, but before this movie, I didn't know what it was.
Happened to Harley Quinn.
That's true. It absolutely did, yes.
Right.
And Marty, again, is like, man, this is heavy. And Doc says, there's that word again, heavy. In the future, is there something wrong with Earth's gravitational field? Or Earth's gravitational pull?
Yeah.
And we gotta get out your parents to alone together. And he's like, you mean like a date? Yes, a date. Is this where he walks by the sign?
Well, first he's like, what is it your parents like to do together?
Yeah, do they have any common interests?
Yeah. And Marty's like trying to think about it. And he's like, no, I guess they don't really like each other.
No, they don't have anything in common. Mom likes to drink and Dad likes to get bullied. So, I mean, Dad's a little pain pig. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. If you let people treat you like that for that long, you like it. But he goes, look, Marty, there's a rhythmic ceremonial ritual coming up. Otherwise known as a dance, ladies and gentlemen. A dance.
That's how I feel like I want to refer to things from now on.
Yeah, next time we go to a wedding, you want to be like, hey, you guys want to go out and do the rhythmic ceremonial ritual on the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Don't do it.
Yeah. Beat you drunk. I can barely get those words out right now, and I'm sober. And so Doc tells him, like, look, you need to figure this out. I'm going to go start working on a plan. And Marty, so he goes to see George in the cafeteria. He sits down and he asks him, like, what he's writing. Mm-hmm. And he says they're stories about science fiction. And Marty wants to read one. George won't let him. He goes, well, what if someone says they're bad? What if they don't like it? You wouldn't understand. And Marty is very quick to, no, I get it, Dad. I mean, George. Because, I mean, he didn't even know his father had that creative side to him. Because he even mentions right here, he goes, you never told me you were creative. He goes, look, there's someone I want you to meet. That Lorraine girl I talked to you about, she really likes you. She really wants you to ask her to dance. He goes, here in front of everybody? What if she says no? I think she'd rather go with somebody else anyway. He goes, who? And he just points. And Biff is being the creepiest of creeps.
He is so bad to Lorraine, and no one helps her except for Marty.
No one. And eventually George.
Yeah.
But Biff is like putting his hands on her, and he's like, oh, you like it. You know you like it.
He's like, you know you want me.
Yeah, she's like, get the hell away from me. And Marty walks up, and Marty grabs Biff. And he goes, she said don't touch her. And they're about to have a little fight in the cafeteria when Strickland walks up. It doesn't say anything, but Strickland is just staring like, you guys gonna fight? do I have to step in here? I'm not going to reprimand you after the fact, but I'm not going to reprimand you if you don't do anything, but if you do throw a punch, you're going to be in trouble. And Biff is like, look, because it's your first day and you're new and all, I'm going to give you a pass. Today.
This one time. Again,
when Marty turns around, George is just gone. He just dipped out of the cafeteria, and he has made Lorraine lust after him even more. This is where he runs up and chases George onto the street. And George is like, why do you keep following me? Yeah. Oh, we also got the first of one of Biff's things that he does in every one of these movies. He gets a saying wrong. Because Biff tells him, why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
What is the original saying?
Make like a tree and leave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Make like a banana and split. Shit like that.
I've never heard that one.
Well, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, not that one.
But Thomas Wilson gets a line like that in every movie. He gets it wrong.
Is Thomas Wilson Biff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He chases George back to his house, and George is like, look, he tells him that he needs to ask Lorraine out, and he goes, I'm not ready to do that. I don't know if I want to go to the dance. If I go to the dance, I'm going to miss my favorite sci-fi show.
Which is science fiction theater?
Yes. Thank you. It's science fiction theater. And
which is that not a TV show?
You might be thinking of Science Fiction Theater 3000?
Maybe.
Something like
I
that.
think it was a TV show. I don't think it is a TV show.
Yeah. But George would rather watch that on Saturday night than go to this dance. And he specifically says, not you or anyone on Earth can make me. To which Marty Crimp comes up with the brilliant idea. All right, you like sci-fi. I got something for your ass. And he sneaks into George's room in the middle of the night. And
George is the hardest sleeper.
Hardest. But I also like how we don't see him breaking in. You don't need to see it. It's not important. You just know he did it. And he's got the radiation suit on. He puts headphones on George. And then he puts a Van Halen cassette in his Walkman. And he blares that shit into George's ears to wake him up. And he says, I am Darth Vader from planet Vulcan.
And he does the little Star Trek side?
Yeah, he does the live long and prosper. And George tries to ask some questions, and he blasts him with the music again. And we do a cut to the next morning. And George is running up to Marty. He's like, Marty, I'm glad I found you.
Looking wet as hell again.
Oh, looking wetter than usual.
Yes.
But he tells him, he goes, I have to ask Lorraine out. Darth Vader came down from planet Vulcan last night, and he told me if I didn't ask her out, he'd melt my brains. And I really appreciate we didn't have to see any of that. Because he's just going to explain it to Marty again. So we got having to experience this twice out of the way.
But I also like that Marty's like struggling to get a Coke open.
Yeah. It's a Pepsi.
Oh,
Pepsi.
right.
Because they don't have twist tops.
Really? When did that get invented?
I'm going to throw out a number and say 80s. I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm just completely guessing. But
when did the can become a thing?
Probably around this time they had cans. I imagine bottles were more common.
Yeah, because everyone was drinking milk from a bottle when they were in the cafeteria, which is also really confusing.
That is, yeah. Did you guys notice that?
I did not.
Yeah, George had a bottle of milk on his lunch tray.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't notice it until Erica pointed it out to me. But I don't know when the can was invented. I don't know when they invented twist tops.
Or the carton. When were they putting kids on cartons?
When they started going cheap with everything.
Oh.
We'll use paper and wax. So Marty is telling him, look, Lorraine's in that diner right there. Just go talk to her. He's like, what do I say? He goes, just say whatever comes to your mind. Nothing's coming to my mind. And Marty tells him, like, look, say she's your destiny. You're, I don't remember exactly what he says, but he's like, basically you're meant to be together. And George is writing it down in his notebook.
And he can't read his handwriting.
This is good stuff.
Yeah, this is good stuff. And is he can't read his handwriting, or is he just not hearing Marty correctly? Because when he goes in, he says, you're my density.
Yeah.
Or is that a dyslexic joke?
Could be. Well, he's a writer.
Or just nervousness.
Yeah, very nervous.
Yeah.
And when they walk into this diner, it's full of smoke. Like, not only is it packed with people, wall-to-wall kids, but it's so smoky in there.
It is the 50s.
It is.
Where every section was a smoking section.
It's true. But he walks up to the bar, and he goes, Lou, milk, chocolate. And this glass comes sliding down the bar. He grabs it. He takes one drink out of it and slams it back down. Makes a whole fucking mess.
I was sure he was going to spill that chocolate milk on him.
I wonder how many takes of that they had to do for him to catch it. But Lou was fucking ready, too, because immediately Lou threw that thing down to him. He walks up to Lorraine. He tries saying the line. He fucks it up. He's too nervous. And then, of course, fucking Biff walks in.
But it appeared like it was working on her for a little bit. Like, she was like, oh.
Yeah, when she's like, "You're George McFly," and she gets this smile on her face. So I think if he had not been interrupted by Biff, this might have worked.
Yeah.
Might have worked. She was starting to get little doe eyes at him.
She likes a firm hand, I feel.
Oh, she does.
I think that homie's just a perv.
Yes.
They both are.
Like, Marty comes by his perviness, honestly. Like, it
is inherited.
Yes.
That might be the joke for when he looked at the girls' asses. His
Yeah.
dad was a peeping Tom. His mom clearly took his pants off.
Mm-hmm.
And he's staring at these chicks. Biff is like, "I told you I didn't want to see you in here again. You're going to pay for it this time." And he's like, "How much money you got on you?" And George, just being the pushover, goes, "Well, how much do you want?" And Marty trips him.
Yeah.
Biff falls on the floor. And this shot I really love. When he stands up, it's from over Biff's shoulder. You can see Marty. And Biff just keeps getting taller and taller and taller. And he's past Marty's eyes. And then Marty's eyes pop over his shoulder to the camera. And he just has "Oh, you're big. Maybe I shouldn't have done that." Biff is like, "You again." He goes, "Wait, Biff, what's that over there?" And this is where he does what I wanted so badly for him to be able to do. He just punches Biff right in the fucking mouth. Mm-hmm. And then he takes off running out of the diner. And he steals this kid's, it's not a skateboard. It's like a little box.
Like a box car or something?
Yeah, it's like
a box scooter?
Yeah. It looks like something you just threw together, and he rips the top off and he turns it into a skateboard.
That's when he invents skateboarding.
Right, even though I believe California surfers invented skateboarding as we know it. And he's skateboarding away. Biff and the guys are chasing him. He grabs the back of a car and he's skitching again. I think he skitches like 7 or 8 times in this movie.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah, when you're on a skateboard, it might apply to rollerblades, but when you grab the back of a moving vehicle.
Okay. Now I know.
Now you know.
The more you know.
Don't try it, kids. Don't try it. They jump in Biff's car and they're chasing him. They're chasing him down the sidewalk.
Yep.
Just driving over the grass and through the bushes, chasing him down the sidewalk. They eventually get him right on the front of the car, and Biff says, "I'm gonna ram him."
Like, I don't know what their plan is to cover up the murder they're trying to commit.
A clear murder in broad daylight on a
front of
crowded street.
So many people, so many witnesses.
And
does Biff have like a rich dad or something that can bail him out? Is he like hoping for nepotism?
I have no idea.
Oh,
maybe. He has a nice car. But as they're driving toward the manure truck, Marty has the brilliant idea of, well, I'm just going to hop over the car, run across the seats, and jump off the back onto my skateboard.
Yeah.
And then they crash into the manure truck, and manure instantly fills the entire car. All 4 guys. One of the goons in Biff's gang, by the way, played by a young Billy Zane.
Yes.
Who most people might recognize from the asshole fiance from Titanic.
Yep.
Or as I recognized him from Daddy Warbucks in that weird spin-off Annie movie.
And my first thought is always The Phantom, a really bad superhero movie. And they just have shit all over them. It's all in their mouths. Goldie comes running up, and he's like, "Whew, that stinks." Marty gives the skateboard back to the kid.
The kid's looking at it like, this is amazing.
Yeah, like, whoa, look at that guy. And Lorraine comes running out of the diner with all the other diner patrons. And someone says something about, who is that guy? Or where does he come from? Where does he live? And she's like breathing heavy, like she just ran a fucking marathon. She's like, "I don't know, but I'm going to find out."
She's like, I am so turned on right now.
Marty goes back to Doc's place, and Doc's been working on the DeLorean. And he's also in the middle of watching the tape from the night of the test. Mm-hmm. And sorry, a fascinating little device you have there. Oh, he also has a great line earlier when Marty first shows it to him. He goes, "Wow, an entire movie studio in your pocket. No wonder your president needs to be an actor. He's got to be on TV all the time." But Marty is like trying to tell him, what's going to happen that night. And Doc tells him, no one should know about their own future. That could have disastrous consequences. And he makes a very good point to be like, look, I don't want to know. I don't want to screw up. Look what happened to you. And Marty's like, fair point. And Doc says, now let's go over the plan. Here's a model. Part pardon the crudity of it, I didn't have time to make it to scale or paint it. And he's got an entire model of downtown.
It is like beautiful.
It's great for the 2 days he's been there. And he goes, look, what we're going to do is we're going to attach a wire to the top of the clock tower. We're going to run it down here across the street. You're going to get in the DeLorean. You're going to go down to a marked location, and you're going to drive. You're going to get to 88 miles an hour. The hook on the back of the car is going to contact the wire, and it's going to charge up the flux capacitor enough to get you home. He's got a little toy car that he winds up, and he sends down. They do a little test of it. And the car explodes into fire, drives off the table, and goes right toward a bucket of oily rags. And this is my favorite thing that Doc does in the movie. He goes, "Ooh!" like this slack-jawed scream. And I think that's how his fucking mansion burned down.
Yeah.
A bucket of oil-filled rags.
Just
He's so careless.
True.
Now, he did have a fire extinguisher on the ready. But I think we found the culprit of why his house burned down. He's reckless.
Not a very good fire extinguisher either.
It's the 50s. And he asked him, did your mom and your dad talk? And he goes, yeah, I think he asked her out. I think it went pretty well. And then there's a knock at the door, and it's Lorraine. Mm-hmm. Doc is like, it's your mother! Hide the time machine! They cover it up real fast, and Lorraine comes in, still breathing real heavily. How'd you know where I was? She goes, I followed you. And Marty's like, this is my Uncle Doc. And she basically is like, I was hoping you would ask me to the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. And he goes, no one asked you? What about George? She's like, George McFly? Oh, he's cute and all, but I like a man who's strong and, can protect his woman.
And she's like, I like a man who could take charge.
Yeah. And he kind of like looks over his shoulder at Doc, and Doc's kind of like, I don't know, kid, you got to fix this. And then it shows Marty is at George's house helping him do laundry, and they're coming up with their plan. Mm-hmm. And George is like, how am I taking her to the dance if she's going with you? He's like, George, it's just part of the plan. Now, we're going to go over it again. At 9:50, where are you going to be? He goes, at the dance. He goes, right. And I will be in the car parked with Lorraine. And he says, well, how's that going to help me? And what does he say? He says something about nice girls get mad sometimes or something like that. Because he's going to force himself on Lorraine, basically.
Disgusting.
Which is just an act. And then you're going to come up to the door at 9:55 and say your line, George. He goes, oh, right. Hey, you, get your damn hands off her. Do you really think I should swear? Yes, George. God damn it, swear. And then so that they have their plan. Now it's the night of the dance. The third time this weekend watching this film, it went by very fast. Because they're already at the dance, and there's like 40 minutes left in the movie.
Yes. Well, that's because the next scene takes forever.
Yeah, there's one scene in this film that takes about 45 minutes. Even though a clock will tell you it takes 7, it takes 45 minutes. And Doc is rigging up the wires downtown. He's telling Marty, I can't wait to talk to you about this. It's going to suck. It's going to be 30 years from now. And Marty, again, is trying to tell him. And Doc is like, no, Marty, I told you. You can't tell me. Whatever's going to happen in the future, I will find out through the natural course of time. Mm-hmm. Just like you will. We can't be sharing secrets about the future. And Marty writes a letter to him in the diner that tells him everything that happens. And he hides it in Doc's coat. And while he's doing that, Doc is putting up an electrical wire, and this cop walks by. And the cop's like, evening, Doc Brown, what you doing there? He goes, oh, just, doing a little bit of weather experiment. And the cop's like, you got a permit for that? And Doc says, yes, a permit, of course. It's right here. And he hops down off of the ladder, and you can see him in the background because Marty's putting the letter in the coat pocket. Mm-hmm. Doc bribes this fucking cop.
Which I want it to be more like a oh God, what's that Park and Recs moment with Ron Swanson where he's like, yes, I do have a permit, and it's just a paper. It's like, oh, I do what I want.
I do what I want. I thought you were going to mention, uh-oh.
No, I will.
But yeah, so Doc bribes this cop. Marty goes to the dance.
He picks up his mom. They're in the car, which I like this scene specifically because it's like everything that Lorraine said he doesn't like or she didn't like girls doing in the beginning of the movie she's doing.
And things she never did.
Yeah.
Yes. She never lusted after a boy. She never sat in a car with a boy. And they're in the car, and...
She never called boys.
Yeah. And Marty says something, you mind if we park? And she goes, oh, no, that's fine. We can park. She's like, Marty, I've parked with boys before.
She's like, I'm almost 17, Marty.
Yeah.
Or almost 18.
18, yeah.
Yeah.
She pulls out a liquor bottle.
Drinking straight gin.
Straight from the bottle. He goes, where'd you get that? She goes, swiped it from the old lady's liquor cabinet. He goes, don't do that. It's bad for you. And then he takes a drink, and she lights a cigarette, and he's like, sprays it all over the place. He goes, Jesus, you smoke too? And apparently, the reason he sprayed the liquor was because the prop department put real booze in that bottle.
Wow.
And they didn't tell him. So that was a nice little surprise for him.
Real gin.
It was some kind of real alcohol.
Poor thing.
And he's like, and she goes, geez, Marty, you're starting to sound like my mother. George is on the dance floor, and he realizes what time it is, and he goes to run out to the car.
He's having like a good time too. He's like really hitting those beats.
Oh, he's just straight vibing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's listening to Marvin Berry and the Starlighters. The guys, the band is like, all right, we're gonna take a break. Don't you people go anywhere. Marty's in the car with Lorraine, and she takes her little sweater off, and now she's just got her shoulders and her cleavage out. And Marty's like, oh, jeez.
She's one hard turn from a Janet Jackson situation. Like, it was rough. I was like, girl.
Marty's like, you ever... Because she mentions he's really nervous. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you ever have to be a certain way, but you don't know if you can? And she's like, yeah, but you know what I do in those situations? I don't worry about it. And she kisses Marty. And then he's freaking out. And she's like, oh, when I kiss you, it's like kissing my brother.
Yeah, she's like, it feels like I shouldn't be kissing you. Almost like I'm kissing my brother. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, someone's coming. Marty has this look on his face, like, oh, thank God George is here. And the door gets ripped open, and it's fucking Biff again.
Fucking Biff.
Yeah.
And Biff pulls him out of the car. He throws Marty to his gang of goons. They punch him in the stomach.
And this is where Biff was just, like, annoying and, like, not just a good person. But this is where I'm like, oh, this man needs to be in jail, needs to die.
This is where
yeah.
Biff enters his full-fledged villain era.
Yeah.
Because he gets awfully rapey right here.
Oh, yeah, he was definitely about to rape.
Because he gets in the car with Lorraine, and he goes, oh, I'm gonna get in here for a minute. You guys go take care of him. And he's like, get out of here. This ain't no peep show.
It's not a peep show, yeah.
Yeah, and he closes the door, and they throw Marty in the trunk of this car, and they close the trunk, and one of the guys from the Starlighters gets out, and he goes, hey, what are you guys doing? And they're like, we don't want any problems from no reefer addict. And like all the guys get out of the car, and when all the doors open, just smoke comes out.
After they,
Let's not say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a racial slur until Adam pointed it out. I was like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely was. I heard it, and I was like, oh.
It's not the worst one, but it's pretty bad.
Yep.
The subtitles on our TV said Reginald, but it sounded like he said Lorenzo. Mm-hmm. But he's like, Reginald, where are your keys? And you hear Marty, they're in here. Say again, the keys, they're in here. And then it cuts back to Biff in the car with Lorraine. George opens the door, and he goes, hey, you, get your damn hands off her. And then it has this really good reveal of Biff emerging from the ruffles of Lorraine's dress. And he goes, oh, it's not Marty. It's the one guy who's been terrorizing me. Mm-hmm. George finally tries to stand up to Biff, and he tries to punch him.
This is George's best moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And Biff twists his arm behind his back. Lorraine's saying, stop, you're going to break his arm, you're hurting him. And George suddenly realizes, well, shit, I'll just hit you with my other hand. Mm-hmm. And he lays Biff the fuck out. And he's like really happy. He's like, oh. And he's like, wait a minute. Let me make sure she's okay.
Right.
Like, are you okay? And they finally have the little moment. And the musicians are trying to get Marty out of the trunk. And Marvin is got a screwdriver. And he's fiddling with the lock. And like, damn it, man, slice my hand. Mm-hmm. Marty hops out, throws the one guy the keys. He's like, thanks, man. Runs off. And sees his parents together. And looks at his photograph, but the photo's still not fixing itself. So he realizes that, oh, the band still needs to play. They had their first kiss on the dance floor. Yeah. And they're like, look, Marvin can't play. So unless you know someone who can play guitar, And then, boom, Marty's out there on the stage playing guitar for him. They're playing
Earth
Earth Angel.
Earth Angel.
And Marty looks so fucking bored.
Oh, yeah.
He starts to feel weak, and then he starts to be able to see through his own hand. And in the middle of this...
Because he has the family picture on the guitar string, so you
Yeah.
see his sister disappear.
Yeah, his
and
sister's
then
totally
you see
gone.
him starting to fade out.
Yep. And...
he forgets how to play.
Yeah.
No, it's not that he forgets how to play. He's too weak to play.
Oh, too weak to play good?
His hand is transparent.
That just sounds like a personal problem.
Wow. Yeah, it's very personal. It's him it's happening to.
There may have been other parts of him disappearing on the inside.
Oh, my God. My
Where
spleen.
his bodily functions were ceasing.
Yeah. He's turning into Danny Phantom.
Yeah.
He's a phantom. Lorraine and George are on the floor, and this ginger dude who plays one of the main villains from Children of the Corn,
Sure.
he grabs Lorraine like she's just like property. He's like, I'm cutting in. And he drags her, and he's literally pulling her away.
At this point, if I was Lorraine, I would just go home. There's too many men handling me, passing me around.
And George finally is like, no, I stood up to Biff. I'm going to stood up to this skinny nerd. And he just pushes the guy down. And then they're dancing, and they finally kiss. And the second they kiss, Marty is rejuvenated. He's back to life. And he looks at the photograph, and both his siblings are back. And they finish the song, and then Marvin and the Starlighters are like, come on, man, let's play something that really cooks. And Marty has that great line of blues riff in B, listen for the changes, and try to keep up. And he starts playing Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry. But the singing voice, very clearly not Michael J. Fox. It's actually Mark Campbell, a guy from a band I know nothing about, Jack Mack and the Heart Attack.
That's someone's mom's cleaning music for sure.
Absolutely. But I kind of like the song. It's
Do
not
it.
it's not bad. I've never heard the Chuck Berry version of it. But while he's playing this, Marvin is in the back. Marvin picks up a phone. And he's like, hey, Chuck, it's your cousin Marvin. Marvin Berry? And he's like, he might as well be looking at the camera going, wink, wink. You know that new sound you've been looking for? Well, listen to this. And Marty's playing the song. Everything's going well, but then he goes a little too over the top at the end with the guitar solo. And everyone in the crowd is no longer dancing and having a good time. They're all kind of just staring at him. And he's like, I guess you guys aren't ready for that one yet, but your kids are going to love it. And he's as he's leaving, Lorraine is there, and Lorraine is like, well, Marty, that was really interesting music.
She got over it quick.
She's like, I hope you don't mind, but George asked to take me home. He goes, oh, that's great. Really had a feeling about you, too. She goes, yeah, me too. And Biff is, or not Biff, but George and Lorraine are both like, oh, thank you so much. And then, weirdly, he never mentions that we see that he's leaving. But she's like, will we ever see you again? It's like, I presumably at school on Monday.
Right?
But
Around town.
something.
Well, at this point, George should expect to see him in his bed at some point, the way Marty's been showing up. Right? At this point, George has no reason to think he's not going to see Marty in a few hours.
I mean, he's going to go home and take a shower or step out of the shower, and Marty's going to be sitting there with a newspaper.
Sitting on the toilet. Yeah.
Look, George, I had an idea. And George is going to be like, Marty, can you pass me the towel, please? But he tells him, he has this is kind of a sweet thing, but he's like, hey, if you guys ever have a kid someday, and he sets fire to the living room carpet, go easy on him.
Yeah, he's around 8 years old. He accidentally sets fire to the rug.
Yeah. And Lorraine is like, Marty, that's a good name.
Yeah, but it's they forgot about it through two children.
It would be really funny if he got back to his 1985 and he had a different name.
Hilarious.
Like they're calling him Michael, and he's like, who's Michael?
Or his older brother's name's Marty.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and his name's Dave.
Yeah.
George probably had to talk the mom into it. The mom probably had to talk George into it. It was like, if we have another boy, you can name that one Marty.
Right.
But not
There
the
you go.
first one.
No,
It's you were lusting too hard the first time.
we're naming our first kid after my father. God damn it!
I'm not naming my kid after some dude that just kept stalking me.
So now begins the longest fucking scene in this movie. This might be my only real negative, only because this shit goes on for too long.
I hated the scene so
But-
I said the same thing, actually. I was like, this shit's dragging.
But
Yes!
we timed it, and it's almost in real time. Doc mentions that the lightning is going to strike 7 minutes and
like 30 seconds.
30-something seconds from now. And from the time he sets that clock to when the lightning strikes is almost that exact time. But there's too much Rube Goldberg shit that happens in this scene.
There really is.
It's
So-
like a Tom and Jerry situation,
Yeah,
a Roadrunner
yes,
situation.
Tom and Jerry. It is ridiculous what happens here.
I actually said that to Ed. I was just like, this was one of those moments where nothing could have gone wrong
Yes.
in order for this to succeed.
Right. So Doc is waiting for Marty because Marty's little solo Johnny B. Good number made him take too long. And Doc does this funny thing where he looks at his left wrist. He looks at his watch. He goes, damn. Pulls out a pocket watch. Damn. Looks at his right wrist with another watch. Damn. Man's covered in clocks.
Which makes sense for how many clocks he had.
He is obsessed with time.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because he is trying to invent time travel. So Marty finally arrives. He's like, what took you so long? He goes, well, I had to change my clothes. I'm not going back to 1985 in that zoot suit. He's like, how'd it go? He went, great. Look, the photo's back to normal. My dad stood up to Biff. He's never done that before in his life. And Doc has this moment of, never? Pause. Marty's like, yeah, why? He goes, nothing. Don't worry about it. Let's just get you in the car. But it's like, Doc is like, you changed one more fucking thing. God damn it, Marty. He's like, look, we're going to send you right back to the minute you left. So it'll be like you never went anywhere. And as Marty's getting in the car, Doc puts his hands in his pockets. And he finds the letter. He goes, what is this? He actually says, what is the meaning of this? You want to explain this? He goes, it's about the future. It's information about the future. No, Marty, I told you, no one can have this kind of information. And he rips it up. And Marty's like, well, I'll just tell you anyway.
Right?
Because the letter said don't open until 1985. And Marty's like, well, fuck, if you want to tear up the letter, I'm just going to tell you. And they never get the chance because...
The Libyans show up.
No. Marty, the Libyans, they chased you back to 1955. No, the tree branch breaks because the storm is rolling in. The branch breaks, and this is so fucking annoying. But Doc gave him a little clock, and he put it on the dash of the car. He said, you're going to drive downtown. I marked a spot. You're going to start there. You're going to drive 88 miles back to here, hit the wire. When the clock goes off, that's when you're supposed to hit the gas. So the branch breaks, comes down on the wire, disconnects the wire from where it is attached up by the clock. So Doc runs up with a rope, throws the rope down to Marty. Marty ties the cable. Doc pulls it up. And the whole time, Marty is like, I gotta tell you about the future.
And it's like Marty knows he's on a time crunch.
And Doc can't hear him. Doc tells him, get in the car and go. We got a few minutes. I'll fix this. And this is where the beginning of the movie foreshadowed what's about to happen. Because Doc is trying to climb across the front of the clock. He trips. He's hanging from the clock arm. The cable is snagged against his pant leg.
His little corduroys.
Yeah. He manages to get a hold of the other end of the cable, grabs the one on his pants. He's standing up now, trying to connect them together. They're too short. The tree branch is causing him to lose all of his slack. Marty is at the other end of the street, way down the road, at the area where Doc marked. He attaches the pole to the roof of the car, which goes right into the flux capacitor to give him all the gigawatts. And when he gets back in the car, the fucking car dies.
Jiggle who? Go ahead.
Jiggle what?
Gigawatts.
And the car fucking dies again.
Yes.
And he's trying to start this car desperately. And it finally fucking starts. He takes off down the street. He's building up speed. He's 60, 70, 80. And Doc gets the cable connected up at the clock. But it disconnects from the other fucking end.
Yes.
So now he's got to slide down a rope, and when he gets down to the bottom and untangles the cable from the tree, there's smoke coming off his gloves, which I really appreciated.
Because he was going so fast.
Yeah.
But also, may we note that he probably did half the damage to this clock tower.
Yeah. Yeah. The reason
Trying to crawl
so
across
fast.
it.
I believe the spot where he's standing and the cement part gives out under his feet and breaks away.
Yeah.
I believe you see that in the rest of the movies.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they keep that continuity in
Nice.
or at least at the end of this movie, but I think it's in the next two as well.
Okay.
We shall see.
We shall. Doc gets these cables connected at the last fucking second for Marty to hit it. But Doc is also still touching it when the lightning strikes. So Doc gets fucking fried.
It knocks him off the.
Well, I mean,
Knocks
Knocks
him
him
on
off the
his
wire.
ass.
it probably explains a little bit of his eccentric.
He should have died.
True. Yes.
It just fluffed his hair a little bit,
You
you
should have
know?
died.
But when Marty's like, "Phew, gone," and Doc is so happy. He's like, "Oh my god, it worked! I got this kid back to his own time.
He's so happy.
I can't wait to actually invent this myself." And when Marty gets back, this is a thing that I wasn't quite sure about, but there's a drunk on the bench.
Wait, let's talk about how he gets into the car and he's like, I gotta save Dog. 10 minutes should be enough.
Oh, yes. And that's right before the car died. Yes.
And I'm like, 10 minutes? He should have gave himself at least 45. But then I guess he would have run into himself. But he was going to run into himself anyway.
Maybe.
I don't know why he thought 10 minutes was enough.
I guess not to mess up.
Make a paradox.
Yeah.
Two of him in the same spot.
Maybe.
He does get back, and there's the drunk guy on the bench. And the drunk guy sees the DeLorean crashed into a different movie theater.
Yes.
Not the one playing the orgy.
No.
So the less fun one.
Yeah. What? Okay.
Less fun. Because it's a church theater. They're playing some, like, Savior of Christ something.
You probably have less of a chance of getting attacked by a werewolf.
No, but you will get attacked by a Christian nationalist.
Or some Libyan nationalists.
Oh! So, but it's funny because the drunk guy is like, damn drunk drivers. And apparently that's Red Thomas, the guy who was running for mayor back in 1955.
He's aging well for a homeless drunk on the bench.
Yeah, because the poster of him on the car looked old.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here he looks younger.
That is true.
Yeah, but apparently that's Red Thomas.
Okay.
So,
It's the alcohol routine.
yeah, but like everything looks the same in this shot. And Marty gets in the car to go save Doc. He's got 10 minutes, and the fucking car dies again.
The worst car.
The DeLorean sucks, but that might be all the shit Doc put in it.
They're gonna get some hardcore Back to the Future fans who's like, I can't believe he's talking about the DeLorean like this.
Well, it's better than what it could have been. The original plan was to be a refrigerator.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, in the original script, the time machine was a refrigerator, but they thought, well, we don't want kids climbing into refrigerators. Let's change it to a car.
There's
That's
a whole
fair. That's valid.
warning episode of something that told you not to climb into refrigerators.
But yeah, it was supposed to be a fridge. So he runs, but
They couldn't get like a Honda Civic or something.
Honda didn't sponsor this movie.
I think it was supposed to be because Doc picked the car, so
Doc said he's like, if you're gonna make a time machine out of something, why not do it with something with style?
yeah.
And he
With
also mentioned that it's
style.
got a metal, the quality of the metal frame
Yeah.
No.
and the gull wing doors. The only thing about a DeLorean I like are the
liked it.
doors.
Yeah, I was like, the doors were cool, and it was nice and silver.
It was
and
supposed to
flat.
reflect his eccentric style.
No.
It certainly did. Also, Erica and I got to see the car prop at Universal Studios.
We
went.
did.
There's the car prop, but there's also the thing. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a thing he turns into a different time machine in part 3. That actual prop is at Universal Studios Orlando.
Oh.
That's the real thing from the movie, apparently.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He runs back to the mall, but now it is no longer Twin Pines Mall.
It's not, no.
No. What is it?
Lone Pine Mall.
Lone Pine. Because he ran over my pine!
Yep, ran that shit right over.
But he sees Doc get shot again. He sees himself scream, jump in the car, and drive away. And when he runs up to Doc, he's like, he's crying, he's heartbroken, he couldn't save him. And
No blood.
not a drop of blood, but there's a reason for that. Marty's sitting there with his back to Doc, and Doc just sits up like Michael Myers. And I thought it'd be funny if he came back as a zombie from all the radiation. But Doc sits up, and Marty's like, wait, Doc, how are you alive? And he pulls open his radiation suit, and he's wearing a bulletproof vest.
The Libyans really got him, though. There's like 6 or 8 shots
But
up in him.
they're lucky their aim is bad. They didn't hit him in the legs or the head.
True.
Yep.
And he goes, but wait, how did you know? And Doc reaches in, and he pulls out this old yellow paper, and
It's taped together.
he taped the letter back together. And Marty's like, Doc, what about all that stuff you said about not knowing the future? And Doc's like, well, I thought, what the hell? Mm-hmm. He drops Marty off at the house. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, where are you going to go? Doc says, oh, I'll probably go 30 years into the future. Nice even number, nice round number. He goes, well, Doc, when you get there, look me up. See how I'm doing. He goes, I will, Marty. And he drives away. Marty goes inside the house. He goes to sleep, and he wakes up the next morning in the same fucking position
Same pose.
that he was sleeping in the night before. All twisted with his ass up in the air.
I can't.
I feel like Marty doesn't own pajamas.
This boy likes sleeping in jeans.
Yeah.
But he wakes up the next morning, and he walks through his house, and it's totally different. The house has a more...
It is very much posh 80s style.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a way to describe it. It looked more wealthy.
It is the stereotypical idea of suburban 1980.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
His brother and his sister are having breakfast, and the brother says something about, Linda, I am not your personal answering machine. When all these boys call you, you need to answer the phone yourself.
Like is it Greg or is it Craig?
Yeah, he said, you got a phone call from Greg or Craig? And she goes, well, which one, Dave? Greg or Craig? He's like, I don't know. And Marty's like, what is this? And Linda goes, breakfast. And she looks way less, let's say, homely.
Damn.
I don't know how else to describe it, because she's dressed much nicer now. She doesn't look like she just rolled out of bed. Dave's not wearing a Burger King outfit. He's wearing a suit. And Marty's like, Dave, what are you wearing? He goes, it's a suit, Marty. I always wear it to work. And then his parents come in. They're talking about, I think we need a rematch. And she goes, why? Why do you think we need a rematch? He goes, I think you cheated. So now they have common interests. They're playing tennis together.
Or squash.
Something that involves a racket. But also his mother is no longer an alcoholic.
Presumably.
She's thinner than she was at the beginning. His father is not dyeing his hair. It's not greasy looking like it was at the beginning. He's not wearing he's not dressed like the guy from Revenge of the Nerds. The white shirt, the black tie.
Yeah.
Now he's dressed with a red polo and like a sports jacket. And the mother is like, oh, Marty, you got that big weekend coming up, you and Jennifer. He goes, Mom, we talked about this. The car is wrecked. And they're all like, wrecked? The car's not wrecked. What are you talking about? And they look out the front door and look, the car's fine. Biff's putting a second coat on it. And now Biff is wearing an Adidas tracksuit. He's going bald. And he's the pushover. And George is like, now Biff, I want to see a second coat of wax on there. Don't you con me. And Biff's like, oh, sorry. I'm putting the second coat on now. He goes, oh, that Biff. I've had to be on his back ever since high school.
See, if I was in rain, don't come near me. Don't come near my man.
George, I don't want to see that fucker near our house ever.
Keep him away.
Yes. But it's like, now Marty doesn't have to hide him and Jennifer going away. The mom's cool with it. The mom doesn't care at all. She's really laid back and relaxed. Also, the mom and the dad are very flirty toward each other.
They are so horny for each other.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, and then Biff comes in. He goes, hey, Mr. McFly, you got a package in the mail.
I think it's your new books.
Yeah, and he puts it down and they open it. Oh, George, your first novel. Biff.
It looks like a smutty alien romance.
You seem like you might have been interested to read it.
We can only hope.
I'm not opposed.
But he says something about, oh, Marty, your car's ready, and he hands him these keys, and Marty's like, what? Goes outside, opens the garage. He now has the 4x4 that he saw at the beginning of the film. And Jennifer pops back up. We haven't seen her since the beginning of the movie. And
since she saved his life.
Yeah, by giving him that flyer. They're kissing again, and then Doc rolls up in the DeLorean, and he steps out of the car, and he looks fucking awful. This outfit he's got on.
It's terrible, but those sunglasses are unfortunately period accurate.
They look like, kind of like, I think they're called pit vipers.
Yeah.
But he's wearing a real shiny outfit, real baggy. He's like, I need fuel. He's dumping all this garbage into the back of the DeLorean and now has a thing on it called a Mr. Fusion. He's dumping all this trash in there. And he goes, we got to go to the future, Marty. The future. And he's like, why? What's wrong, Doc? Do we become assholes or something?
He's like, not you, your kids.
Yeah, we got to do something about your kids, Marty. They get in the car. He goes, Doc, you might want to back up. We don't have enough road to hit 88 miles an hour. And Doc has the great last line of the movie. It's like, where we're going, we don't need roads. And the car's wheels transform. They slide down under the car, and the car starts to fly. Flies toward the screen. Boom, credits, we're done.
It is wild what they thought cards would be like in 2015.
I say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
They kicked off the sequel, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
But that's our movie. I'm going to go ahead and say I like this movie. My only complaint was the scene trying to get Marty home took too long. If I had seen this in the theater back in 1985, I would have had a good time.
Are you asking us if we would have gone and see this in the theater? Is that your question?
No, I'm asking if you saw this in the theater, would you have regretted it or would you have been fine with it? Like, what are your final thoughts on the movie?
I liked it. It's not my favorite that we've done so far, but it's not never been guessed. So
That movie is going to be getting just dragged for the rest of...
this podcast,
Until we find something worse, it's going to keep getting dragged through the mud.
Just get dragged.
Yeah,
But
I did like it. I don't think I would regret seeing it in theaters. I don't know, like, it would have to be, if I was in 1985, I'd have to, no other options.
so if you put a gun to my head and said you were going to kill me if I didn't watch this movie, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing it in the theater.
I mean, like...
You're really selling me on your...
Like, what else came out this year?
Good question. I don't know.
I'm gonna look that up real fast.
You look that up. While you look that up, I'm going to get Etta and Jeremy to tell me what they think.
I would have watched it. It's a very relatable, like, coming of age movie. So to me, it's one of those, like, comfort flicks.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I would have enjoyed it in the theater.
Yeah, and it's under 2 hours.
Yeah.
I liked it. I don't know if I would have gone to theaters to see it, though.
Okay. But if you had seen this in theater, you probably would have been like, that'd be better at home.
I probably wouldn't have regretted it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, I would have had some other options as The Breakfast Club came out.
Oh, no.
Girls Just Want to Have Fun came out. Teen Wolf came out. 1985.
Michael J. Fox again.
Yep. Clue came out. Somebody whose child was getting traumatized by watching Bridge to Terabithia.
I feel like I wouldn't have regretted it. Actually going to see it is the tricky part, though. Like, it was like, you want to go see this movie? I'd have been like, no.
You wouldn't have picked it, but if you
Yeah.
had seen it, you would have been cool with it.
Yeah.
I got you.
One of my favorite documentaries came out this year.
You fucking nerd.
The American Experience, Ken Burns, The Statue of Liberty. So good. Recommend, guys. Recommend.
Oh my god.
But no, I wouldn't have regretted it. I'm surprised I hadn't seen it before now.
All right. Everyone's favorite part. Guessing how much this would have cost us to see in the theater in 1985.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I know you're stressed.
$2.
All right, we got $2.
$4.63.
This is when, 85?
85.
$3.50.
Etta is so close.
Damn!
$3.55.
Oh my goodness.
Etta almost got that. So
Next time.
Next time, baby. So that's it for Back to the Future. Our next episode is going to be Lethal Weapon,
Ooh,
which is a movie I absolutely love.
I really don't like it.
I like buddy cop movies, especially this one.
Erica, you might as well go ahead and preempt this is a dad film.
Don't you dare.
It
Don't
is
do it.
not.
It is not a dad film.
It is so
It
a
is
dad.
not a dad film.
Might as well go ahead and preempt that.
Teen coming of age.
No, not this movie that we're talking about. Lethal Weapon.
Oh, no,
That's
that is
coming
a
up.
dad movie.
Yeah, that's a
Quit calling them dad. You're going to be banned from saying that.
It's a dad movie.
You've said
My
that
dad
about
loves
several
it.
movies.
I love it.
What have you said that about Training Day?
Yep. Minority Report.
Minority Report.
Well, these are also all cop movies.
So every time there's a cop, you're like, yeah, this is a dad movie.
If my dad loves that movie, it's a dad movie.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
All right, well, let's get the dad out of here.
Yeah.
So, we have been getting to the theater. Next episode, Lethal Weapon. This episode, Back to the Future. I've been Adam,
I'm Erica.
I'm Etta.
I'm Jeremy.
and we'll see you guys next time.